up a bit. So you have an opportunity not just to get a family 4-pack for the tickets, but also the parking. So you do not want to miss out on that. If you're listening on the app, switch over around 12:45 as we are giving away tickets at 1. I think it's my turn to pick that special number, and we will go from there. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Good, yeah. It was just your typical switch off of shows with the morning show and us this morning, some typical Dave conversations that were had, and
can't get away.
Ready to go, man. Just ready to go. Ready to get far away from that. So yeah, well, we got Woj, we got Bryce Young. Let's get into it.
Yeah, without Jason, you kind of. Yeah, right. I mean, when we're so Chris and I will be working on the show, and Chris will remind me that Jason isn't here today, and you just take a deep breath. You take a deep breath and you say, okay, let's just get to celebrity birthdays, and then hopefully we will be okay. And Woj will definitely be okay, even though he's leaving some money on the table. One of the more random announcements I think that anyone was expecting, especially with Shams becoming a free agent, and we'll get into all that as well. But Woj has announced that he is retiring from the news breaking industry. This is from Front Office Sports and from ESPN. On Wednesday, ESPN senior NBA insider dropped the biggest Woj bomb of all about himself, announcing he was retiring from journalism to accept a role as GM for the St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies men's basketball program, his alma mater. The university is in St. Bonaventure, New York, in the western part of the state. And like I said during Crosstalk, if you are curious if that's anywhere near New York City, it's not. It doesn't even look like New York, to be completely honest with you.
No tall buildings, nothing.
No. It's more. It looks like Sacramento. Honestly, it looks like Sacramento. Oh, old Sacramento, mind you. Yeah. Old Sacramento with the cowbells and all that. This is part of what Woj said. After all these years of reporting on everyone's teams, I'm heading back to my own. And we have the full statement right here. I grew up the son of a factory worker 2 miles from ESPN's campus and only ever dreamed of making a living as a sports writer. 37 years ago, the Hartford Courant gave me my first byline, and I never stopped chasing the thrill of it all. This craft transformed my life, but I've decided to retire from ESPN and the news industry. I understand the commitment required in my role, and it's an investment that I'm no longer driven to make. Time isn't an endless supply, and I want to spend mine in ways that are more personally meaningful. I leave with overwhelming gratitude for countless mentors and colleagues, subjects and stories, readers and viewers. No one has benefited more than me from the belief, trust, and generosity of others. The past 7 years at ESPN have been a particular privilege. I'm appreciative of the company's leadership, especially Jimmy Pitero and Christina Douglas, for understanding and acceptance of my decision to make a life change. After all these years of reporting on everyone's teams, I'm heading back to my own. Didn't expect to see that one, Chris. Did not expect to see that one. But as we talked about in the crosstalk, I'm not terribly surprised that it happened because, once you have those kiddos and you're on your phone, trust me, even myself, Chris, and I am no Woj, I find myself on, you get the look from wifey every now and then. Hey, you've been on the phone a little bit too much. So I can only imagine how that has been for Woj. But your initial thoughts, Chris, when you saw this drop this morning?
Crazy. Yeah, definitely was not expecting to wake up to this. And, shout out Woj. He's definitely been a staple, to put it lightly, in the game for as long as I can remember. I mean, he from even, him kind of first rising on the scene, breaking all those draft picks and everything on draft night, you were like, well, who is this guy who just keeps who's telling us, 10 minutes before the pick is even made on TV, what's going to happen. And I think it was really the first time where we started to use Twitter like how we now use it today, where it's pretty much like a news gathering site. Woj was kind of really the one of the trailblazers for that. Getting your information via Twitter wasn't really that common back then. It probably was for a little bit of more global news and things like that, hearing from spaces in which you just weren't able to really access before, but it really did change the sports scene. And I mean, now you see guys like Adam Schefter, you see Jeff Passons of the world. Before, all those guys used to get their breaking news off on their web pages, right? It would be on the front page of ESPN.com would be the only way that you would get these massive breaking news unless you had SportsCenter on 24/7. And Woj kind of was one of the first people to make it immediate, right? Like it was, hey, we are living in a world, I won't say, it's just kind of, again, it just changed the landscape of everything, where we went from, hey, 1 minute, everything is one way, and then the next minute, all of a sudden, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are now both on the Clippers. It's just things like that that really changed the way that we follow sports nowadays. And Woj is, again, just like the trailblazer of it all, and we'll see where all this goes. Is now there's definitely a massive hole in the entire media landscape. Is it going to continue to be this way, or are things going to maybe start to shift to a different medium? Twitter, we talk about it all the time. Twitter isn't really having its best days right now. I wonder if maybe, this could be the first crack in the armor for maybe again, a landscape shifting kind of move. And we'll see where ESPN goes with this.
Chris, I'm rereading this, right? And this is from Front Office Sports, and I'm just going to be completely honest with you because I want to make sure I get this right. And I'm looking at other news outlets releasing the same thing. There was this whole conversation as far as Shams versus Woj. I'm reading this Front Office Sports from Michael McCarthy, and help me out, Chris. I'm literally going English class here, because the way it reads, it says, "My sources tell me ESPN will likely talk to Shams Charania." This is Mike McCarthy talking. "Will likely talk to Shams Charania, Woj's former Yahoo Sports protege, and former ESPNer Chris Haynes." So I know Chris Haynes was with Yahoo for a long time. Chris Haynes is the protege, right?
No, Shams is.
Yeah. Shams is the protege.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes on to write, "Both are pending free agents, according to the New York Post. A 30-year-old Charania," so he is older than you, "deals with the Athletic, Stadium, and FanDuel are all up. Ditto for the 42-year-old Haynes, who has plenty of on-camera experience at TNT." Chris, one thing that I did find interesting as these bidding wars come out, it's not necessarily the draft night. That kind of is what it is, because it's not as if ESPN was posting what Woj is posting. He's doing it on his own. It's more so about when you're going through the humdrum of the off season and you get that breaking news ticker and you're just trying to pull eyes to your channel, to your station. That is why these guys are worth so much money, right? I'm just trying to illustrate it for people that might wonder, well, why would ESPN care about somebody breaking something 10 minutes before someone else? I do think it's just a credibility standpoint, and it just gives validity to what these outlets are doing. If you're Woj, or if you get a Shams in your building, if you're ESPN, you know that any news that comes out, especially without Woj now, he's got this place in a chokehold, so you don't have to worry about people hopping on the Bleacher Report app or looking up TNT. Everything will run through ESPN, which makes, I think Chris Haynes will definitely get a nice bag as well. But this is Shams woke up in probably the best mood since Christmas Day. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I would assume that Shams probably knew that this was going to come, as well as, he's obviously a newsbreaker. I'm sure he's had some tentacles out there that's told him that this is definitely something that's on the way. But to answer your question, I would think the value is kind of a package of everything. It's the fact that, yeah, like you said, it is a lot of credibility. It's the fact that, every single, when you turn on FS1 or you turn on ESPN or you turn on anything, you go on you go on online to look up a story, and everything will say broken by, or as reported by blank blank ESPN. And it's that element of it. It's on the ticker. The reason why Woj initially was brought on was because, as ESPN has obviously made the bottom ticker really popular, they were embarrassed by always having to put broken by Adrian Wojnarowski of Yahoo Sports. And they wanted it to say ESPN, and there's a certain value that they see to that. But there's also this side of something we deal with here, and every single not just sports outlet, but news outlet deals with, and it's clicks, right? Like, not only is it the tweet, not only is it getting attention to the personality, not only is it getting it on the ticker, but if news breaks that De'Aaron Fox signs a 10-year extension with the Sacramento Kings, you're going to go to ESPN.com because that's where Shams Charania initially broke the story. And I think that's really the value, is getting people to your webpage. And, again, that's something we've dealt with here at Sacktown Sports a ton. And, before I was on air, I had to deal with the website and the digital side of things. And that's really the number one thing that a lot of these outlets care about, is getting people to your website, driving people to there. And then, yes, once you are there, hey, go click on go click on Emil Fergoso's article, go click on Brendan Nunez's article. It's about getting them to the page and then having them stay on the page as long as possible. And like you said, if they can get Shams back at ESPN, or get Shams over to ESPN, it's borderline a monopoly at that point, to where that's where you go for all your NBA news.
Yeah, and
there's still the Mark Steins out there. Yeah, we'll see where Chris Haynes ends up landing, but for the most part, Kevin O'Connor just signs with Yahoo, so maybe that could be another factor in the negotiations. But I would guess that ESPN is going to throw the full bag at Shams.
You mentioned a name like Kevin O'Connor, and Woj has talked about, literally in his going away, or his goodbye tweet, he said he wanted to be kind of like a sports writer. Do you think that a lot of writers are trying to head towards the news breaking? Is there a difference between people that just want to Mina Kimes, for example? Mina Kimes doesn't really break news. Right. She's more of an analyst. Right. Do you feel like, not to get too in the weeds, but as a sports writer, there are a couple of different paths you can go in. You can go in the analysis path. Sure. You can go in the news breaking path. And does it feel like some of these guys who have been in the game for a while, okay, I've been doing this, I've been giving a couple takes now, I got this, I got that. Now all of a sudden, now I need to make a decision. Because if you're Kevin O'Connor, not that he's been wildly disrespectful, but
Jake Fisher also should shout out Jake
Fisher. Yes,
helps us a ton.
He might be. Yeah. He might be on the come up as well.
He might be the new Shams.
He
might be the next one that's like the number 2.
Exactly, because I'm looking at a Kevin O'Connor, and even me and you deal with this. I mean, we have media day coming up. Yeah. I don't think we've ever said anything outside the lines, no pun intended. But if you're a Kevin O'Connor, I mean, you're not getting any plus. If you're trying to move into the news breaking realm, unless you've developed some conversations with agents, you're not getting anything out of Sacramento because of how you've positioned yourself. Like Amin Al-Hassan, you can't. You're not getting anything. So I just think it's interesting. You got to be careful with this stuff, and be careful what you say. Coming up next, speaking of what you say, oh my goodness, this is clip 1. We have about, I don't know, 3 or 4 clips. The Deebo podcast.
Yeah, we listened, so you didn't have to.
The Deebo podcast. And again, we're going to talk about being respectful, because if Deebo want to come on the show, I don't want him saying, y'all were talking trash about what I had going on. But we'll start with the stuff that made more sense. We will have fun with it during the top stories at the top of the hour, because, the takes have happened. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Match De'Aaron Fox for game-scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
What is it called? Cleats and Convos? Cleats and Convos launched yesterday with Deebo. And they are promoting the mess out of it, Chris. There were a couple different spots that made some sense, a couple segments that were a little bit clunky first show, and we apologize to who was the mediator. They really just haven't done a good job of promoting who she is. So I think that's a bit interesting. But yeah, the biggest thing that was making the rounds for Deebo was when they went on and he had Brandon Aiyuk as a first guest. Basically, they talked about how they've been the best team for a while now. Here's Deebo talking about where the Niners have fit in the pantheon of NFL teams.
What is the mentality coming off of last year into this season? Was there any type of change from last year to this year? I mean, I would assume you obviously get hungrier for it every year. The end all be all, the Super Bowl. But what would you guys say your mentality was coming into?
I mean, if I'm looking at it like you just said, for us hungry, I'm full at this point. I'm full at this point. Like, I mean, it's time to really clean the plate. Like, it's either now or never. Like,
right.
That's how I kind of look at it. Like, with the guys that we have, like, we didn't. Like, I've been a part of, the best team in the NFL for the past going on 6 years.
Yeah.
And so, like, we always there. Like, we got to get it done.
I've been a part of the best team in the NFL for the past 6 years. That is Deebo's new show, Cleats and Convos, with Deebo Samuel via Bleacher Report. And we love Bleacher Report, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I just don't think – I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, if you don't have one Lombardi – maybe in your mind,
I feel like David. Am I wrong? Did I mishear that? Did she ask him how hungry you guys are, and he said, "I'm full"?
Yes.
Which said, then
I'm ready to clean the plate.
I'm not hungry at all, which is a big question mark for the Niners, right?
Again, I think that's more of a miss. I don't think he meant that. It's definitely
a misinterpretation for sure, but it is also kind of
episode 1.
It's indicative of what I think a lot of people already criticized or have concerns about the Niners for, is that they have been there so many times that there isn't a hunger. There isn't a hunger. And frankly, I think the problem is that there are teams out there that are hungrier. And I think whether Deebo meant to say it or not, like, that is a little bit crazy to me that he just kind of said, and I know he's still like he said, he still wants to clean the plate and all that stuff. But again, I do think that really does speak to the point that there are a lot of teams out there that are just a little bit hungrier. And I think at the end of the season, after you've been through everything and, you're in the conference title game or in the division round again, I just kind of think that those things can be the difference maker when teams are relatively equal. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but I think that's a really bad Freudian slip there from Deebo.
Yeah, I don't want to get super caught up on
it's not the
semantics.
Part.
Yeah, basically it's how hungry are you? And he's saying, I'm so hungry, I'm ready to clean the plate. Or I've been hungry.
He said he's full.
But then he said, I'm hungry. I will say,
okay, yeah. Again, let's talk it.
I will say this though. As far as the second part that he said, and whether the Freudian slip, we don't want to get. I've already had English class in the first segment with the commas, but I will say this: to say that you're hungry, and then in that same breath say that we've been the best team for the last 6 years, I think that is a problem. I don't think you should. I think that you do need to have a level of confidence, and you do need to have a level of swagger and aura and riz and everything that the kids say now. But you haven't won. So to think in your mind, it's almost like, to your point and to the point of some of the media out there, they act like the Niners have won. And they haven't. They've been wildly successful with their high-level losses. But how can you walk around and fix your mouth to say that you've been the best team in the NFL for the past 6 years when you have nothing to show for it? That to me is a problem.
I think they are the best team in the NFL the past 6 years.
How can you say that?
Because they have a ton of wins. They just haven't won the Super Bowl. But I would say collectively,
how isn't that not the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, I guess it could. The Chiefs are the number 2, but I don't think it's or number 1, if not the Niners. But I mean, at worst, the Niners are number 2. I don't think that's that crazy of a statement. I understand why Niner fans probably don't want to hear it because, again, like you don't have the Super Bowl to show for it. But I don't think it's an incorrect phrase. I think the Niners have been one of the best, if not the best team in the league the past 6 years.
Yeah, no. I have no problem. I have no problem with saying we've been a top team. I have no problem saying, and now we're getting back
either 1 or 2.
Why though?
Because they've been to the Super Bowl 3 times. They were in the NFC Championship game. Nobody else has that kind of resume. They just haven't won the big game.
You can make the argument. I mean, look,
I think the Chiefs are the only other team that you can make the argument for.
I think that there's a big difference between 1 and 2. I think then there's difference between 1 and 2 to me.
That's fine. I mean, there can be, but you're upset at him for saying number 1, for thinking he's number 1 when they're number 2.
Do you get a parade for number 2?
You can get an NFC Championship parade for sure. A little mini one.
Come on, Chris.
What are you upset about for him saying it though?
You haven't been the best team the last 6 years because you have nothing to show for it.
They have NFC, like they just don't have the Super Bowl to show.
That's a big deal.
It is a really big deal, but it doesn't mean that to me at least, It doesn't mean that the statement is completely null and void.
Yeah.
Because he said he was number 1 when maybe in reality they're number 2.
But to me, it's speaking to exactly what you were saying with how he misspoke earlier.
Yes.
How can you be if you think you're the best team, even though you haven't won anything?
Mm-hmm.
How can you be as hungry as a team who feels like they're working to be the best? You're walking around like you think you already won when you never did. That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, I mean, I took it more from they have been the best roster. They have played the best. They've gotten further than just about anybody has. They just didn't collect the hardware at the end of the season to show for it and to say, yes, 100%, there's no argument about it. We are it. I just think that, they still have been record-wise, win-wise, talent-wise, the best team in the NFL. They just haven't gotten it done.
Coming up next, we continue the conversation as I'm wearing my Raiders shirt. Somebody is trying to send Backpack Bryce to Vegas. Do you want him? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, The Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are expecting cloudy skies and cool conditions today. Highs are only going to top out in the mid-70s, and there is a slight chance for a few rain showers. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
DC here, and if you've been thinking about a new car, you got to see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia. You can always count on low payments and zero down deals with approved credit. Folsom Lake Kia, over 25 years, right here in Folsom.
Hey, I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
She used to meet me on the side.
Khalid, live in concert. See him performing at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. Get tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss the sensational Khalid for one night only at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. For more, visit KhalidOfficial.com.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I had been starting to be sick all the time at work, so I went to the doctor. He asked if people in the office smoked. He identified it as being exposed to secondhand smoke. I decided to sue. It was worth it in the end, California being the first state to be smoke-free in workplaces and restaurants in the country.
Andrea was part of a historic movement to ban smoking in the workplace. Learn how she and other Californians are fighting big tobacco at undo.org.
The TaylorMade Tour Van is a one-stop shop for PGA Tour players to get their clubs to exact specifications. And now you can get the same experience at Hagen Oaks when the TaylorMade Tour Van brings their fitting skills to you. On September 20th and 21st, you can be fitted at Hagen Oaks and have your clubs built by the TaylorMade Tour Van. A $25 fitting fee is refundable with any club purchase. Whether you're interested in the QI-10 or P770, call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 to reserve your spot.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Great conversation we're having as far as whether or not Deebo was right on or off base when he said that the Niners, quote, been the best team in the NFL for the last 6 years. From the 831, our guy Trey. Other than KC, the Niners have been the most consistent in terms of wins and playoff pushes. Again, it could just be me holding on to the fact that one is much better than two, right? And I know that sounds pretty obvious, but that's where I'm at with that. Trey also says, you can tell that Deebo was nervous. I don't look too much into anything that he said. Yeah, you know what, Trey? And we're going to have some fun with the show a little bit later. There was a pretty awkward moment that Deebo actually wasn't a part of. It was Brandon Aiyuk, and I got to find that mediator's name because she didn't. Yeah, she was fine. So
she did a great job.
Yeah.
She was trying to make that.
She was trying. She was trying.
Really trying.
So yeah, we're going to have some fun. But yes, I think you're right, Trey. It's a lot different when you're doing a hit than when it's your show with your name on it and you want it to be good. So I think you're right, Trey. We will give a little bit of grace, but we are going to have some fun during top stories at the top of the hour. From the 916, can you be the best team and still lose games? If you were to look at some sort of power rankings and see the Niners across the years, on average, they'd have to be at the top, wouldn't they? Doesn't that make his statement true? I guess I'm willing to concede this, and that's a good call from the 916. I think that's kind of what Chris is saying, or exactly what he's saying. I guess I'll concede.
So it just has to be somebody else saying it?
Was it like a parent?
Man,
right?
Okay.
If your parent tells you something, you don't pay attention. Then if someone else's parent tells you, say, you know what?
That's a pretty good point.
Miss
Johnson?
Yeah, she's on to something. Yeah. She's on. But I will concede that maybe as a whole, on average, maybe they have been the best. But I won't concede that I do think it's an issue that Deebo feels like that. Because to have the pain and maybe that's part of the pain, I just think it's a mentality thing, guys. And I just don't like the fact that you feel like you're the best when you've been bested multiple times for a couple different situations and reasons. That's how I feel. Maybe he's not right. Maybe he's not wrong, but I don't necessarily want him talking about it in that way. How about that?
For what it's worth, I am looking at records over the past 6 seasons.
Here we go.
The Niners are not first. They're not second. They're not third. They're not fourth. They are not fifth. They are sixth best record over the past 6 years. 58-41, though that doesn't really seem right to me. So I'm going to double check that.
Was it probably that
they did have that 6-10 season, which
say.
Doesn't help. They also had that 4-12 season as well in 2018, which I guess technically
how they got
the
Bosa
6-year
right.
Window.
Yeah. One of the years that led to Bosa. Yeah, look, it's where the devil is in the details, and I'm just saying that you need to feel like no. We're not. When you played King of the Hill, right? Let me ask you that question. Okay, back in the day, you guys ever played King of the Hill basketball? It's a fun game. You played at the basketball camps, and you start at the top of the key. Somebody's at the baseline, and you pass the ball in. You guard that person, right? If that person, and I don't think you do rebounds. It's just one shot. If the person scores, they stay at the top of the hill, and if you get a stop, then you are now at the top of the hill. So let me ask you a question. If I'm at the top of the hill, okay, and let's say Kyle Draper, because Kyle Draper, he used to ball back in the day. Let's say I'm at the top of the hill.
I'm sort of LeBron James,
Boost
of the
Go ahead.
station. Boost the rating.
Kyle Draper passes the ball into me.
Passes? Whoa.
Well, but that just so he can defend me.
Right.
So Kyle Draper, he's got about 4 or 5 inches on me. He probably is a better baller than me, but I pull it out 3-point line and I make the shot.
Yeah.
Who's the king of the hill? It's me.
It's you.
So who's the king of the hill? The Chiefs. It doesn't matter that the Niners may have been better because they're not the king of the hill. So don't walk around talking about you're the king of the hill, Deebo, because you're not. You got no rings to prove it. And now you're doing podcasts.
That was a very specific scenario.
Well, I just wanted to get Kyle Draper in there because I know he's listening out there in New York or wherever he is.
No.
That's where we're at. 925 says, LOL, Niners best runner-up since the Bills. Maybe. Nate, did you have any thoughts on what Deebo said? Because you are the resident Niner fan. Did it bother you? Am I tripping?
I hate this podcast. I'll come out and say that. I think this is stupid. I think you guys are giving too much credit to everybody.
Again, the moderator, I will say, is trying her darndest.
Yeah, but it's not working. I think they needed some. I don't know who this woman is.
It's one episode. It's one episode.
Okay, just the clips I've seen are like she's scrambling. It's the first episode. I get it. I'm not saying I do a better job, but I just think they should have got someone with more experience. Maybe they tried. I don't know. In regards, I've had this question. I had a similar conversation, I don't know, a year ago with Scott Marsh downstairs, the Aggies play-by-play, the Kings pre-game show here at Sacktown Sports.
Nate, you sound like you really are not trying to answer this question. You sound like you're really depressed. You're like,
Scott Marsh. Dude, I'm telling you guys, I'm just so sick of this. Like 49ers, like I get it, they suck, and it's just like not.
Who sucks?
No, it's just the best runner-up, and it's just true, and I just hear it all the time, and it's just like so demoralizing as a fan. And
but did you have a problem with what Deebo said?
I'd say not really. No, because
after all that,
yeah. Well, I was gonna get there eventually, but no, because it felt like he just kind of said things like, "This is why I didn't want this podcast."
Sure,
it's because he's silly things are gonna slip out and be dismantled by the media very critically, and I don't think the 49ers are their players are necessarily like wizards with their words. So it's really frustrating.
The text line said, "Is Nate good?"
Yeah. Dude, I'm just so sick of it. I wasn't even that excited for football this year.
No, I hear you.
It's just it sucks. It sucks. And it's not fun. And the Bills thing, I've thought about that a lot. It's very true. Can I just finish my story about Scott Marsh real quick?
If you have to.
Sure. Okay. Last year I had this conversation. I was like, say it with a smile. He's a Rams fan, and he's like, there's no way I would give up that one Super Bowl to be you guys right now. They had basically 1 year where they were good, and they just got hot in the playoffs. Like, I don't think everyone would say they were the best team in the league that year. They were very good, and they bought their team and with the salary cap, all that nonsense. But I just want to see a Super Bowl from the 49ers before I die. That's it. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
In closing, Nate did not have a problem with what Deebo said, even though everything you just illustrated kind of tells me you should
cancel the podcast.
It kind of sounds like you have a problem.
By the way, Chris, Liv Moods, that is the name of the host. That is the name of the host.
I did not finish what I thought.
Liv Moods. I found her because I wanted to give her.
Yeah, she deserves a shout out. Yes, she is trying. She is really trying.
Yeah, her just due. Look, and I'm not, I know we have a lot of fun, or at least I do. Someone said so. No, Nate's not good. It's the same number. He'll be okay. We got 4 more hours as we take you up to 2 p.m.
That's not a good thing.
You'll be fine. You'll power out.
Imagine being on this side.
Exactly.
Talking about Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, dude.
And we have more sound from it with Brandon Aiyuk being asked why he chose to stay. Look, this is what people want.
No,
somebody wants this.
Who is this for?
916-339-1140. If you have a team that you are a fan of and that player has a podcast, do you listen?
I think it just
you care?
Great question.
Yeah.
Text line,
we'll get it later.
Call line,
to be fair,
chat.
If De'Aaron Fox had a podcast,
we'll get to it.
Sacramento would go nuts.
We'll get to it.
Sure.
We'll get to it.
Sure.
I've got thoughts.
When Chris Watkins has thoughts, what is this? Wasabi Wednesday already, and it's a whiny Wednesday for Nate. That's what's going on.
Depression Wednesday.
That doesn't even go. All right, coming up next, we talk about Bryce Young, Backpack Bryce, and why everyone is trying to hand him to other teams. Would you want him? What is he here to actually do? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
Sacramento, Dierks Bentley's coming to town.
Getting drunk on a plane.
For his only show in California this year, Saturday, September 28th at Heart Health Park for Country in the Park 2.
What was I thinking?
And he's bringing some friends. Carmelie.
I want to close your eyes for this.
Tyler Rich. Dasha.
Did your boobs stop working?
And more. Saturday, September 28th at Heart Health Park. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the California Army National Guard and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Come to the Good Feet store now for a free fitting and test walk.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Backpack Bryce. You want to send him to Miami? You want to send him to Vegas? Send him to LA? Where you want to send Backpack Bryce? The Panthers just going to tank this season. What if old Andy Dalton is just good enough? What are the Panthers going to do? We're already seeing Heisman odds. I was talking to Nate, and Chris and I were having a conversation about Jalen Milroe, obviously Cam Ward, some of these guys coming out. Hey, who are the Braxton Millers versus the CJ Strouds? How do we figure that on out? But first, we have JD on the line who wants to get into this Deebo conversation. 530 is also saying, wait, Deebo has a podcast? There goes his game. At least he'll have something to do when he's injured. I don't think fans like this stuff, Chris. Let's see what JD has to say. Maybe JD's on the other side. What's up, JD? You're on Stiles and Watkins. What you got for us?
Hey, guys. How you guys doing, man? I hope you're blessed.
Thank you. Yes. Same to you.
Hey, so check this out. So I'm a Steeler fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mike Tomlin and my Steelers have not had a losing season in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like saying, hey, that would make us the best team. But you know what? I'm nowhere near saying we're the best team.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't won diddly squat.
Right.
So how in the world can you compare yourself just because you've been higher in the rankings, higher, going deeper in the playoffs every year, but come up zeros? How are you going to say you guys are the best team?
Right.
So if you think you're the best team, get that W in the big game.
Right.
Okay? Otherwise, you just like the Steelers. You're good, but you ain't good enough.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Thanks for the call, JD. From the 925, basically what JD is saying, if you ain't first, you're last, quoting the great Ricky Bobby.
That's just not. I think that there's a complete difference, though. Like, there's a difference between being. I mean, the Steelers have literally been like a game above 500 or at 500 for a lot of those seasons. We're talking about the Niners being the best team in the regular season and then making it to the conference title or the Super Bowl. There's a difference. There's a big difference between what the Steelers have done, sustained longevity success over, what has it been, 15 years or something, versus what the Niners have done in this concentrated window. Yes, I guess if you're JD, you're saying, look, we all end up at home the same, lonely and sad and without a trophy. But I think that there is a difference between what the Steelers have done and what the Niners have done. And I think that it's just not that black and white. There is definitely a gray area. And I think the Niners have lived in that gray area where they have been undeniably successful. And again, like I said, Troy Aikman said it during week 1 when in the Jets game. It's not that the Niners have gone to that game and just been completely outclassed. We're talking about in every single one of these Super Bowls, they're a throw away. They're a stop away from winning the game. They're as close as you can get without actually winning it. So I think that it's just not fair to say that the Steelers' success is to the same of the Niners' success these past couple of years.
Ultimately, this is what happens in this new media age.
This is the championship or bust of sports talk, though, too, where it's like, yeah, Charles Barkley, oh, you haven't won a title, so your entire career is just null and void.
No. I'm not even saying all that. I'm just saying.
But that's kind of where JD's getting, is that if you're not winning the title, then what's the difference between 13 wins and 9 wins?
I would, not to put words in JD's mouth, but I would venture to say the issue is more so with the new age that we're in with new media and these podcasts and it's Deebo saying it. I think if you have other people saying it, it probably gets other people saying it about your team. It probably gets viewed differently. You're the one out there. Deebo was targeted a bunch of times, didn't have the best Super Bowl.
Sure.
So I just think that my take on this, Chris, as we've gotten into the nooks and crannies and to take it back to a larger conversation, this is what happens when these guys get behind mics. They say stuff that is going, and it's funny because the whole situation, as we talked about Shador last week with the throwing people under the bus, was you have your own platform to give your own talk, and they're thinking, oh, well, we want our own platform because the media twists and turns things. That's still going to happen because you're still going to say stuff that you can't necessarily articulate the way you want to articulate it. I mean, you're talking about there's a full plate, but you're still hungry and you've been the best team. So this is just what comes with it.
Yeah, it is.
This is just what comes with it.
Definitely. Yeah. It is what comes with it. And I also don't really like, I think Deebo saying it like makes sense too. Like I don't get the element of, Deebo can't be the one to say it because I mean, I understand that, it means a lot more if somebody else says it, but he's been in it. And so I think what else do you expect somebody who's been in it to say? Like, like, honestly, we haven't really been that good. Like, hey, if we don't win, like, what's really even the point of playing? Like, I think him being a part of it, like, what else? Again, we say it all the time on this show. What else is he supposed to say?
You know what? And maybe, I don't know if this is fair or foul, but I would say this, Chris. You and I, we do a show every single day.
Yes.
There are certain things that, and maybe the audience can tell sometimes, maybe they can't, right? There are certain things that I'm going to ask you. And the way you respond to that may not be the same way. We want things to be organic, but at the same time, we don't want it to be terribly rehearsed, right? So there are times where I say things to you and you say things to me and I will know that it's coming from pre-show. And there are times where, me, I might just be vibing and I'll ask you something completely random, right? To me, I'm struggling because if these guys are going to be a part of media now, I will say this. If you're going over this stuff prior to the show, Deebo could have had a much better answer. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I will also say they definitely did not go over the rundown before
No,
the show started.
I guess we're having this conversation, and we can
Yeah.
argue whether what Deebo said was right or wrong. But I think ultimately, if you're going to get in front of that mic, this is stuff that they might just need to learn as it goes on. You need to be a bit more prepared because this isn't a
This is
press
more
conference.
problematic. Yeah, I mean,
this isn't a press conference. It's not like you don't know what's coming.
Right.
You're
actually controlling what's coming.
You're controlling what's coming.
Yeah, which
and
is
it
the whole
didn't
point.
sound like that
No.
from his response. All right. Great conversation. Keep the calls and keep the texts coming if you have something you want to say or if something has piqued your interest. But we do want to slide on over and start the conversation on one Bryce Young. Chris, you sent this to me a couple days ago, and it was only the beginning of where they're trying to send Bryce.
And I think you had said that this even came through on the text line that day.
This came through on the text line, and I can't remember who it is. This was on the SAC chat, so please reveal yourself if this was you. But Benjamin Solak, basically, Chris, and I'll let you kind of dive into it since you sent it to me. He's saying that the Dolphins, this is the first team. We have a list of teams now for the Bryce Young sweep. Stakes?
Is it a sweepstakes?
I don't know. I hope so. I don't know. What? Yeah, let's get into what Benjamin Solak had to say about Bryce Young.
Yeah, so essentially this is Solak tweeted this a couple days ago on Monday after everything. We kind of have a better picture of the Tua situation. He's now been put on IR. And, Benjamin Solak said he posted a couple screenshots of his article from his week 1 review and says, I say this in all seriousness, the Dolphins should try and trade for Young. He could run that offense, might be the only offense in the league he can run. And in his article, he said, I don't know what Coach Canales is supposed to do about this, short of running Mike McDaniel's offense, which is not viable in Carolina because this team does not have one of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane, let alone all three of them. There is no way to make this style of quarterbacking work in the NFL. Super spread, quick game. That's what Frank Reich tried last season, all rollouts and boots. You can cut the field in half against most NFL defenses. So essentially just saying, Benjamin Solak, who is one of the new writers, ESPN football writers, saying essentially, that with the Dolphins in their situation, could Bryce Young be somebody who is a fit? Tua is a smaller quarterback, so it's something that maybe Mike McDaniel has a better idea of how to handle and put him in good situations. But I think the more so important thing for Bryce potentially working out in Miami is, as we talked about yesterday a lot, Panthers have not done him any favors with that roster. Miami is about as stacked as it gets when it comes to just the supplementary talent. We would get an answer on Bryce Young if he goes to Miami.
Yeah, and obviously Tua on that IR, so there's an opportunity there. This one, look, man, we talked about how I feel about mid-season trades with the NBA. That's more realistic than this. And I'm not saying, maybe he's saying maybe he's not even saying for this season. It seems like he's talking about this season. Maybe he's also talking about the future because what's going to happen with Tua, but I don't see this happening. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen, but I'm just saying that I don't see it as very realistic. Here's the thing, Chris. I get very confused with Tua because the whole thing with Tua is, does he have the arm strength, blah, 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 blah. But he's also throwing to Tyreek Hill. He's throwing bombs. So, if the same idea in 2 Alabama quarterbacks, for whatever that's worth, Bryce Young to just kind of get into that situation where it's bleep it. Tyreek down there somewhere, right? And Waddle whenever he's available, which isn't terribly often. But when Waddle's available, you're cooking. I think Miami has some questions that they need answered. And if they want to make this move, I think the larger conversation, Chris, as it pertains to Bryce Young, and we have some audio on that as well, is whether or not Bryce Young is done in Carolina. Now, you move on, and like we said, they're basically, in my opinion, they're not putting out Andy Dalton to say, hey, we want to see we want to make sure Bryce is good mentally, blah, 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 blah. They want to see, does it look this bad with Andy Dalton?
Right.
Whose fault is this? Right. They basically want to clear themselves like Law and Order from the equation. So if it doesn't look that bad, I think they could be onto something. We have some sound from Dan Orlovsky coming up next, who has another team who says that they should take a look at Bryce Young. And he also goes on to say that he thinks that Bryce Young is cooked in Carolina. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
It's not hard to be a mom. It's hard to be a good mom. It's easy to be a bad mom. That's so easy. But to be a good mom is hard. To be a bad mom, that's as easy as being a great dad. That's...
Nikki Glazer, Alive and Unwell Tour. Friday, September 20th. The venue at Thunder Valley. Tickets on sale now. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. She's alive and unwell. Don't miss Nikki Glazer.
Thank you. Good night.
When you switch and save with Progressive, you could use that money towards going to see your favorite team in the playoffs. Progressive cannot guarantee that you can go see your favorite team in the playoffs. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds on average, but we cannot guarantee that your favorite team will make the playoffs or even finish with a winning record. They could easily lose more than half their games and finish in the cellar because they stink badly and haven't made the playoffs in years. Savings? Very possible. Playoffs? Highly doubtful. Switch and see if you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states. We cannot be held liable for your favorite team's terrible and frankly embarrassing performances now or ever.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Silverado savings spectacular now at Maida Chevy with $13,000 off MSRP. Every new Silverado half-ton LTZ in stock after rebates. $12,500 off every Silverado half-ton high country after rebate. And $11,000 off all new Silverado half-ton RSTs exclusively at Maida Chevy at MaidaChevy.com. Sacramento Silverado headquarters. Whatever Silverado you choose, you'll save thousands at Maida Chevy. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Must trade in 2010 model year or newer. Ends 9/30/24.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
The TaylorMade Tour Van is a one-stop shop for PGA Tour players to get their clubs to exact specifications. And now you can get the same experience at Hagen Oaks when the TaylorMade Tour Van brings their fitting skills to you. On September 20th and 21st, you can be fitted at Hagen Oaks and have your clubs built by the TaylorMade Tour Van. A $25 fitting fee is refundable with any club purchase. Whether you're interested in the QI10 or P770, call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 to reserve your spot.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the better Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Continuing the conversation on Bryce Young and where he should go. We have some sound, by the way, a couple hours away from giving away UC Davis football tickets, a family 4-pack, and parking to check out the Aggies. Aggie Up hosting Utah Tech this Saturday. Stiles and Watkins, we gotcha. 916-339-1140. That is in 2 hours. So let's hear from Dan Orlovsky, who has another team, and let's see if this one surprises you, that should be interested in one Bryce Young.
In NFC South, Bryce Young bench, 2 games into the season, they're going to Andy Dalton, at least in the near future. What's your thoughts on that situation? How does it play out? Is there a way you go back to Bryce Young? What do you think the thought process is with Dan Morgan and Canales down there in Carolina?
No, I think Bryce is done in Carolina, and I would encourage them, implore them just to trade him. You're not going back. You're not making this move unless you have, one, already decided as a group, as an organization, hey, we're moving on, or you're going to lose your locker room if you keep playing him. So, I think he's done in Carolina. I've seen it floated around, the Dolphins. If I were the Los Angeles Rams, I would probably make a call. And Deebo, this, AJ, it in Pat, this.
Thank you.
Is kind of why teams go through their quarterback evaluations in the draft process, even though they're unlikely to be drafted in one, where those guys are expected to be drafted, because, the Rams might have absolutely loved Bryce Young coming out of the draft last year. And so this might be a situation now. Matthew's older. Their team has been absolutely destroyed by injuries, and their perspective on their season is kind of very different right now. So I just don't think in Carolina, we've seen Baker, we've seen Geno, we've seen Sam Darnold now a little bit. We've seen Jared Goff, I guess, a little bit. Those guys have made their careers, but they're all at different places. I just don't think it gets remade in Carolina.
Think it's done already, Chris. Let's start with whether it's done in Carolina before we move on to the teams we want to ship backpack Bryce off to. You think it's cooked in Carolina already?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what the scenario to put him back in, and I think it's just kind of tough to think about what it would be, right? If they're going to play like trash under Andy Dalton still, why put Bryce back out there if it looks just as bad with Andy Dalton, which would be tough to look worse. But if it looks just as bad, I don't know why you would go. I guess maybe just to get him reps, and how long of a leash do you give Andy Dalton? Do you give him a month? You only gave Bryce 2 weeks. And if it goes well with Andy Dalton, of course, you're just going to keep rolling with that. So it would make a lot of sense. And I guess the sooner you trade him, more value you can get in return, because if you ship him off after a season of straight up benching him, it kind of starts to turn into the Trey Lance situation where you're lucky to get, I don't know, what did the Niners even end up getting for Trey Lance? Was it fourth or something like that?
Yeah,
I think the longer you wait, the less likely you are to maybe get something that you feel like is a decent return. And even now, I don't want my team giving up a definitely not a first. I wouldn't want them to give up a second either for Bryce Young. Even a third, I would probably be a little bit hesitant. But if you're in a situation like the Rams where you already have a quarterback, at least then you could justify it and maybe say we're grooming him for the future. But yeah, in Carolina, it's just tough to think of the scenario that would play out that would lead without injury, that would lead to Bryce being put back in.
I don't know if there is a position in sports, or honestly, even just a product in general, that has as high of a value and then has a low of a value in such a quick amount of time as the quarterback position, right? I mean, as soon as if you don't pop immediately, it's almost you're done. You're done. And I don't know. And Nate, as we threw around some other teams, Nate brought up the Raiders, and Nate said, what about a second and a third if you're the Raiders for Bryce Young next season? And Chris, what did you say?
No,
that's too much.
No, that's way too much.
That's too much. That's too much. I mean, in my opinion, there's just so many guys that you could hit on. There's a level of the Panthers have responsibility, but I do think guys that watch a lot more tape than us are still thinking, yeah, the Panthers aren't good, but this is also very bad. The whole thing is very bad. You're supposed to be able to elevate the team a little bit, or say, okay, I can see a little bit of this or a little bit of that, and they're just not seeing with Bryce Young. So I don't know what they get for him, Chris. We were talking about the Cam Wards of the world and the Shedeur Sanders. If the Panthers, I mean, like you said, you brought it up with the Cardinals, just get out of Dodge and now obviously that wasn't a number one pick, but hey, just do what you got to do. Just swallow your pride and say, we missed. Somebody else can try, but it's not working for us.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's me, or maybe it's both of us.
Yeah.
Let's see where else it could work out. And I we can have the conversation as we look at the Rams and the Raiders. I mean, yeah, the Rams, Stafford, and where he's at. What is Stafford now? Is he 35?
I think he's 35, yeah.
Yeah, Stafford being 35 years old, and you get Bryce Young with the guy
36, actually.
36. Yeah. You get Bryce Young with the guy who really remade Jared Goff's career. They still ended up moving off of him, but they were able to get, they got Matthew Stafford and added some value back to Jared Goff, and they took Jared Goff to a Super Bowl. And Jared Goff is still one of those confusing guys. So maybe you get him to LA, Bryce Young, and he looks a little bit different. I don't know about the Raiders. I just think if you're the Raiders, what they're doing with Gardner Minshew, the only reason I would discuss it if I'm the Raiders is because you're probably headed towards that 7 to 9 win category, and you're not going to get the top the top quarterback pick as we've seen before. So do you take a flyer on Bryce Young? Possibly. But you talk about, and I know I'm wearing my Raiders shirt here, and you talk about the whole brand thing with the Raiders. Bryce Young is not a Raiders quarterback.
No, not even a little bit.
Whatever he just looks like a Raider. Whatever that looks like is the opposite of Bryce Young. So personally, I just don't think that would work. He's not built like that.
No, yeah, I mean, the Raiders probably isn't the best situation. Like, what exactly would the Raiders be trading for at that point? Like, Gardner Minshew is already, I would say, a better option right now than Bryce Young. You kind of know what you get with Gardner Minshew. I think there's a lot of, obviously, question marks about what Bryce Young would bring. I mean, I would not look to bring him in as a starter unless it is like a Miami situation where you're just so tremendously down bad that you're willing to try at least somebody who at some point had some pedigree. If I'm somebody who would be interested in trading for Bryce, I would make sure that I have a Matt Stafford in front of him. Maybe Seattle, like having Geno Smith. You have to have some other plan. To me, like, Bryce is at this point a backup that you're developing, and you're really not putting much stock into it. He's not preventing you. If, let's just say it was the Raiders, like, if you are acquiring Bryce Young, I would not let that stop me from making a first round pick. Like, I would not think, okay, no, we have Bryce Young, and so that's our contingency plan. If whatever quarterback we have in, I would not live that life. I would try and get as many good young quarterbacks in the building as possible. And it really, to me, in that Brock Purdy draft really speaks volumes of it. Just take as many bites at the apple as possible, because it's the most valuable position in sports. If you get it right and you have too many of them, I don't see how that's a problem. You end up shipping one off and you get a ton of them. And you get, I mean, the Niners, if they get a 4th round pick for Trey Lance, especially now at this point, that's a steal, right?
Yeah.
Like that you should not
People
be able
also
to
said-
get that kind of value.
Well,
But
people also said
at the time,
the Cowboys
right,
were idiots. They also
were not super smart.
Yeah.
For that for sure.
Stephen A., I believe it was yesterday, said that Bryce Young may end up being the biggest NFL bust of all time. There's no way, right?
I mean, I wasn't around for the Ryan Leaf stuff, so
yeah, he said it was. He said this is worse than Jamarcus.
I don't know. The Jamarcus stuff wasn't great. Maybe the on the field actual production was a little bit better with Jamarcus, but I mean, the surrounding situations around Jamarcus are about as laughable as it gets. I mean, the infamous story of the blank tape and all that stuff, him kind of being a little bit too true to his roots, I think was also a big issue when he was playing for the Raiders. I don't know if it's worse than Jamarcus, but it's definitely maybe it is though, because honestly, I keep forgetting that the Panthers traded up and like traded assets. They traded this past first round pick as well. They traded 2 first round picks in order to move up and get Bryce. So that might make it a lot worse. At least the Rams with Goff, it didn't look good, but they still were able to at least make the Super Bowl. It was not because of Jared Goff. You could argue it was in spite of Jared Goff, but yeah, I mean, I think at least for my lifetime, he was not great. He was
Jared Goff that year.
He was a McVay robot at that point for that season. I'm not saying he was bad, but it was not Jared Goff individual mastery.
This came out in April, ranking the NFL's 10 biggest draft busts since 1990. This is from CBS Sports. Some names you may recall, some names you may not. At number 10, cornerback Justin Gilbert for the Browns. He was the 8th overall pick in 2014. Number 9, I remember this guy, Justin Blackmon.
Yeah.
In 2012, the 5th overall pick to the Jaguars. Number 8, Steve Emtman for the Colts in 1992. Number 7, Heath Shuler to Washington in 1994. And number 6, Lawrence Phillips, running back, Rams, 1996. He was the 6th overall pick. Number 5, Charles Rogers to the Lions in 2003, the 2nd overall pick, wide receiver. Number 4, Trey Lance, 2021, 3rd overall pick to the 49ers. Number 3, QB Achilles Smith to the Bengals in 1999, 3rd overall pick. Number 2, Ryan Leaf to the Chargers, 1998, 2nd overall pick. And number 1, Jamarcus Russell in 2007 to the Raiders with the 1st overall pick. Yeah. Will Bryce Young be on this list, or will he, just like some others, whether it's a Geno Smith or whatever the case may be, could he unbust a Sam Darnold situation? Coming up next, we discuss the infamous play that happened that led to Justin Jefferson, who's still doing the gritty. We'll see what Richard Sherman had to say about it, and Dante Whitner. Whose fault was it? Does it matter? Let's move on. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
It's a toss to McCaffrey, a cutback run 30, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line on the first play of the game. CMC Dynamite!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity Mobile. Connect to the most reliable 5G network nationwide. Well, opportunity is a big part of September baseball, and in the case of the A's lefty Brady Basso, it's been a bit of a twisting path. When he took the mound for the Athletics against the White Sox on Friday the 13th, he was beginning his 5th stint with the ball club this year. He went out and fired 5 1/3 innings of shutout baseball that night to earn his first major league win.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And for just $15 a month, add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $35 a month. Switch at Xfinity.com today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay to store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity internet or TV and price subject to change.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
The play heard round the world. I mean, that was probably the number one. Well, the interception from the Bengals, that might have been the number one play for week 2, but it's between that one and the Justin Jefferson play. And a little bit later in the show, we have some sound, as we discussed yesterday, the passing yards being down, but that wasn't the case this weekend with Justin Jefferson, 97-yard touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers. But whose fault was it? Whose fault was it? Well, you have two great former NFL defensive players in Richard Sherman and Donte Whitner, not together, but they are both kind of discussing it, and they have two different thoughts on the situation. Here is Richard Sherman first with his take on it.
They did not generate enough pressure on Sam Darnold. They allowed him to throw a 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. Unacceptable, no matter what part of the game you're in, no matter what situation, no matter if it's backed up, whatever the situation is. You got two safeties guarding Justin Jefferson. He split the defense. You should never put those guys in that situation. He should be doubled at all times. He's the best player on their football team. He's not a guy that you should let loose or not have an eye on or say, oh, they're going to run the ball. Let them run the ball. Too deep. We stopped Justin Jefferson. They ran a play like that in week 1, had some success. It was a post corner to Justin Jefferson, had some success. This week it was a corner post, and he was able to get behind the defense. Sam Darnold threw a beautiful football for the 97-yard touchdown.
So that was Richard Sherman giving his take on the situation and really just saying, hey, it just can't happen, guys. It just we talked about that prevent defense with the Eagles, Chris. I mean, that is the one play that you just – in Madden, you think this is so easy because there's so much space in front of me, so much yardage in front of me. But in real life, you just don't see stuff like that. The team normally, they might take a shot, but it's a very dicey, hey, either you overthrow it or either you connect or you overthrow it because we can't have a pick because we're in our territory. Let's hear what Donte Whitner had to say. He had a bit of a different take on the situation.
You know what? I really put this on the defensive coordinator. Because throughout my career, from learning from Vic Fangio and Ed Donatell, you never really double a receiver, whether it's a corner and a safety, whether it's two safeties, you don't double them so that he can run through the defense. If you're going to double the number one receiver, you put a corner in front to get their hands on him and impede his progress, and then you put a safety 25 yards deep to that side of the field. You put Odom to the side of the tight ends, and you put Diamador Lenore over to the side of the two receivers, and you just move that safety back, and you have Travarius Ward and you have Diamador Lenore playing man coverage underneath with a safety over the top. What they were trying to do is have Odom play the vertical and the outside routes, and then they had Jair Brown sitting 17 yards backside on the hash, believing that our deep over route was going to come. Well, what they did was shot him directly up the seam. There's no real double team there. And when he's running unimpeded and he ran 4.41 at the combine, I don't know if a guy like Jair Brown is running 4.6 is going to be able to stop that guy running unimpeded through the defense. And, once he got a step on him, it was just, you might as well just strike up the band. So
it feels like they are saying different things, but it's still a similar. I think the issue is not whether you agree with Donte Whitner or whether you agree with Richard Sherman. I think the issue is the Niners were kind of caught in between.
Yeah.
Where they didn't double Justin Jefferson, and then Jair Brown came over late. So I think it's commit to whatever you were trying to do.
Right.
And Sherman's just the type of, and Sherman's not necessarily not putting on the coordinator. He's just saying, it just can't happen.
It just can't happen.
It just can't happen. And this is the first Sorensen thing. And look, last season it was the zero blitz.
Right.
This season, a lot of people, and we've had a lot of conversations about Steve Wilks and whether or not he was used as a scapegoat. I think two things can be true. I think he could have been better. I do think he was used a scapegoat in a couple different ways, and you can't blame him for that one. And the Vikings, beautiful ball by Sam Darnold, and maybe it was just lightning in a bottle, Chris, but the bottom line is I don't see how you don't double Justin Jefferson. Yeah. So if you're going to do it, you just got to do it sooner. That's my take on it. I don't understand how you don't. And I know that Mooney Ward, I know that the Niners have some guys, but what did Justin Jefferson say this past week? Respect to Garrett Wilson. I get played a lot differently. And in that situation, I think they tried to maybe play him like he was Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder how much of it, too, was that, maybe the Niners defense, as we kind of were talking about a little bit more so last week, who has the edge, the Niners for knowing Sam Darnold or Sam Darnold for knowing the Niners. I wonder if maybe that knowledge played against their favor this time, and maybe they said, look, I saw Sam throw all last year.
Right.
He ain't, I'm good at the 50-yard line here.
Right.
He's not going to throw it over the top. He'll probably underthrow it, and I'm going to be in perfect position. Yeah. And, that's why I just give credit to Sam at that throw. It was a 60-yard throw or 55-yard toss in the air on the dot, on the money. I just kind of think that it was a really good play. And I think, that's Justin freaking Jefferson. That's the best receiver in the NFL. He gets paid to make plays like that. He gets paid to make defenses look silly and to have players question what were we doing and having things that are normally unacceptable happen. That is what Justin Jefferson does almost on a weekly basis. So I don't think it's some huge statement about the Niners defense and maybe there's some cracks in the armor. Maybe this is just the first of many mistakes for Nick Sorensen, not saying that he's not at fault in this, but I do think if I had to do a credit cake or a blame pie, I think I would give a lot of the credit more so to the Vikings going out there and making that play. I mean, it was a pretty ridiculous. You have him he throws the ball in the end zone and throws it literally in the middle of the Vikings logo at midfield. I just kind of think it was a good play, good route, and, you just hope that those kind of things end up not going the other team's way in a lot of cases.
Coming up next, we get into another trade that the Niners may or may not be a part of, as you see opportunity when a team needs a quarterback. And what have we been hearing? The Niners have two quarterbacks, and whether it's Brandon Allen or one Josh Dobbs, a pastronaut, maybe the Dolphins could be interested. We have a proposed trade, and we want to know who would say yes and who would say no. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are expecting cloudy skies and cool conditions today. Highs are only going to top out in the mid-70s, and there is a slight chance for a few rain showers. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
The last 6 Sacramento River Cats games of the 25th anniversary season are packed with promotions and theme nights. Join us for Hispanic Heritage Night on September 17th, the River Cats Golfer Hat Giveaway on September 20th, our inaugural Harry Potter Night on September 21st, and cap off the homestand with Fan Appreciation Day for the final game of the season on Sunday, September 22nd. Make your way to the ballpark for a farewell to the River Cats of 2024. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets today.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley's coming to town. Getting drunk on a plane. For his only show in California this year, Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park for Country in the Park 2. What was I thinking? And he's bringing some friends. Carmelie. I want to close your eyes for this. Tyler Rich. Dasha. And more. Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by the California Army National Guard and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House.
As a mom, I'd do anything to keep my child out of physical pain.
Dr. Pamela Maida is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon.
As a doctor, I know that growth spurts can cause pain in my child's feet, and that can affect their legs and back too.
Good Feet Youth Arch supports are designed to alleviate, even eliminate common pain.
Investing in youth arch supports for your child or teen is one of the best decisions you can make.
Come to the Good Feet store now for a free fitting and test walk.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
It's not hard to be a mom. It's hard to be a good mom. It's easy to be a bad mom. That's so easy. But to be a good mom is hard. To be a bad mom, that's as easy as being a great dad. That's...
Nikki Glazer, Alive and Unwell Tour. Friday, September 20th. The venue at Thunder Valley. Tickets on sale now. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. She's alive and unwell. Don't miss Nikki Glazer.
Do you have old baseball cards and sports memorabilia from the 50s and 60s collecting dust in your closet? They could be very valuable in any condition. Find out at the Sports Cards Roadshow. We'll be in the Sacramento area to evaluate your old and modern sports cards. Visit sportscardsroadshow.com today to schedule your appointment. Ask about your free on-site sports card evaluation. For large vintage and modern collections, we can come to you. Skip the garage sale. Sports Cards Roadshow is buying. Call 1-800-560-3272 today or visit sportscardsroadshow.com.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
By the way, we started the show with this, but if you're just now joining us, thank you for joining us. Adrian Wojnarowski out at ESPN. Out as in, he said I'm out. He is going to be the GM for St. Bonnie's, his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, the basketball team out there, the men's basketball team. So everybody is sending Woj the best. He has been a staple in the basketball world and in the industry for a very long time, but he wants some more time with his family, and he feels like he is going to be able to do that in this new gig. Of course, there are already people guessing about what's going to be next for Woj, right? Conversations about whether he will be a part of the NBA in some capacity. Is this his path to become a GM for a team? Eventually, we looked up how old he is. He's, 55 years old? So still got time to make that transition. But for now, Woj is having some fun and wanting to take some time with his family and just enjoying being a part of his alma mater as we get back into, I mean, there are some insane trades being thrown around. It feels like this is the NBA, Chris.
I know. What's going on?
With all these trade generators for the NFL with one Bryce Young. This one has nothing to do with Bryce Young, though, that you had. Matt Barrows, who covers the Niners, had a suggestion. And this one seems more typical or realistic. A quarterback goes down. The team doesn't want to sell their season, so they go out and get a veteran guy, and you have the details on this one.
Yes, Matt Barrows this is their mailbag segment, which I think normally was done by Tim Kawakami. So I think this is Matt Barrows' first venture into taking over that mailbag segment. Someone asked him essentially with the problems that are going on with Miami and the Niners possibly having some gaps at running back in terms of running back depth. And we know we make fun of all the time, Miami is pretty much just Niners South when it comes to their running back room. This is what Matt Barrows had to say in his latest mailbag for The Athletic. He said, quote, "I made this point on X last week, but the Niners need a reliable running back, and the Miami Dolphins seem to need a quarterback. The Dolphins have an abundance of runners who are in the same offense as San Francisco's, and the 49ers have two backup quarterbacks who are about equal in the eyes of Shanahan and who could certainly quickly slide into Mike McDaniel's attack. Conclusion, what do y'all think about this? Josh Dobbs for Raheem Mostert or Brandon Allen for Jeff Wilson Jr.? Who do you think says no in those kind of situations?
Funny enough, and I didn't even know Jeff Wilson Jr. was still on the Dolphins.
Yes, he is. Yep.
So
yep.
I
believe they drafted a running back this year as well. So they have like four or five backs.
Yeah. Mostert, I mean, he's a little
32,
bit,
I think he is.
And he's dinged up. He's been dinged up a little bit. And he had a lot to say. I mean, he did not like his
32,
his departure from the Niners. He's had a lot to say and kind of felt like he should have got paid or whatever the case may be.
He's dealing with a chest injury right now.
I think the Niners say no on both of the. I mean, I think you might. I don't know what Jeff Wilson Jr. has left in the tank, but I think it would have to be one of the options that he didn't say. I would say Dobbs for Jeff Wilson Jr. doesn't feel like enough. Brandon Allen for Jeff Wilson Jr. doesn't feel like enough. I guess maybe Dobbs for Mostert would feel like enough, but at the same time, Mostert to me is not injury prone, but he's not Elijah Mitchell injury prone, but he's not far from it. So I don't think any of this makes sense, Chris.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here too. For what it's worth, Josh Dobbs in the Cardinals to Vikings trade last year was a conditional 7th round pick for Minnesota's 6th round pick. So it's not like we're talking like, oh my gosh, how are you going to trade a quarterback whose value is up here for a running back whose value is all the way in the tank? Like pretty much like from a value perspective, I think it's fine to do a swap and you don't really have to worry about, losing the trade or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I mean, I do think in a weird way too, if Brock Purdy obviously stays healthy, you can actually get production from one of these running backs versus you may never, ever see your backup quarterback. So this could actually be a pretty good opportunity if the Niners were to jump on it. The question, I guess, is also, before we even have to decide which one of these trades we like more, do we think that the Niners actually need to go out and get a running back? Do we feel like there isn't depth necessarily behind Jordan Mason? I mean, we don't know. We haven't seen anybody else get the carries. It is a bit strange that they go from, hey, Christian McCaffrey, we ran him way too much last year. We're actually going to split carries this year to now, Jordan Mason, he's going to pretty much just get all the carries and we're not going to, I know we had plans.
That's what Shanahan does though.
It's so strange. So I mean, I don't even know if they really feel like they need to go out there and get a running back. I guess this is maybe a little bit of a slight to Isaac Guerrero, right? Like maybe they feel like they're not ready. He's not 100% ready from what they've seen so far. I think either of those two options are fine. I don't really think that the Niners should if they do feel like the necessity is to go out there and get some more depth at running back, I don't think they should sweat either of these guys, Brandon Allen or Josh Dobbs. I personally would probably rather keep Josh Dobbs just because we saw last season in a limited capacity when he was playing well for the Vikings, what exactly he can bring. He can be a little bit of a floor raiser. Brandon Allen to me is just, people want to say, Brock Purdy's a Shanahan robot. I would imagine if Brandon Allen ever steps in the game, he is going to do only what Kyle Shanahan tells him to do. So maybe even saying that, I guess maybe you could say the Niners would lean to trade jobs, but if I were them, I would rather get Brandon Allen off and just get one of these guys if you feel like it's a necessity.
Who do you think has more value in the NFL? I mean, I guess there's two questions of value. There's the Niners world and there's the NFL world. I'm saying as far as the NFL world is concerned, who do you think has more value or who's viewed higher?
Probably Dobbs, just
that's what I would think.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we've seen him start games, we've seen him win games, we've seen him.
The Niners
be
just
dynamic.
hoarding. They're just hoarding Brandon Allen. It's their X factor. I don't know what's going on there.
No, I don't know what the difference between Brandon Allen and I want to say Nico Mannion, but I know there's a Mannion quarterback out there that was like the Rams. Like, what's the difference between Brandon Allen and literally every other back? Sean Mannion, thank you.
Yeah.
Between Brandon Allen and every single backup quarterback out there. I really don't know. Like, is he? Yeah, I don't think he's better. He may be even worse than most backups.
Yeah, the Niners do seem
they love
to.
him.
Yeah, they really do love him. Speaking of the Niners and how much the fans do love that red and gold, the best traveling fan base in the league, 49ers are expected to occupy 62% of SoFi Stadium on Sunday.
Honestly,
and that is per Nick Wagner of ESPN. Who do you think is higher? Because I'm pretty sure when I read off the Raiders schedule yesterday, the Raiders go to LA. Do you think the Raiders will beat the Rams at 62% or no?
Or you mean beat the Niners?
Beat the Niners when they play the Rams. Because 62 is ridiculous, but you gotta think, and because you can't really. I'm sure they were higher than 62 against the Chargers, but the Rams have a little bit of a better fan base than the Chargers.
Yeah. I think the Raiders do it. I think the Raiders are more prominent already in LA to start with than the 49ers. I think because Raider culture, you're talking about the brand earlier. I think that brand, is heavy in LA.
Yeah, I think they'll beat them, but 62 is nuts.
62 is nuts. And I feel like even, everybody's this week especially is going to post those pictures of like what the crowd looked like last time. What was that, last year? I would say it's going to look like more than 62%. They absolutely take over that building, and it's just crazy. It's a crazy advantage to have when you're on the road like that and you hear and look up and see all of the red. It's really impressive. I mean, I've got really I know the first line of that was best traveling fan base in the league. I was even surprised by the amount of red jerseys I saw in Minnesota. Like the Vikings as well are another really great traveling team, especially at home. They really do tend to hold down home field pretty well. It doesn't really make sense that there's a bunch of Bay Area fans up there in Minnesota. I was really surprised. So I think 62% might even be low. And I do think that they probably do probably attract more than the Raiders because there is, like you said, they have Chargers games to go to and things like that. I feel like the Rams, if they're going against the Rams specifically, I do think the Niners actually do outdraw the Raiders.
Yeah, which is crazy because, as we started the show talking about Deebo and whether or not the Niners have been the best team, the Rams, they do have the Super Bowl, but it doesn't feel like they brought more. They don't even have that many bandwagoners.
No.
How you win a Super Bowl, you don't get bandwagoners. I've never seen anything like that.
I will say there is a good bit of Rams fans in LA, relatively, right? Like, I mean, for how much or how little, I guess they've really been there
down there.
And they were there before as well. In the Eric Dickerson days, they still did have a little bit of an LA fan base. So that's much better than what the Chargers draw. But yeah, I mean, I mean, Scott Marsh is a Rams fan, but I've known a couple other Los Angeles Rams fans that live down in SoCal. So I think they've done a decent job, but not nearly as bad as what the Chargers have done.
Coming up next, we circle back. This is our part 2 of the Deebo Samuel podcast. Cleats and Conversations. This time we're going to hear from the $30 million man, Brandon Aiyuk. He opens up about staying in San Francisco, and we let Chris cook as far as athlete podcasts that he would versus who he wouldn't listen to. And we hear from you, 916-339-1140. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis, put the frosting on the cake, put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a two-hand flush makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings. shows.
Tommy, I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
John Legend here. How do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date with a COVID shot this season?
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Ask your healthcare provider and book at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered FlexSteel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Enjoy ultimate control of your home network. Personalize your Wi-Fi name and password. Assign user profiles. View and control connected devices and more with the Xfinity Internet app.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
I just saw a video. Bryce Young walking to practice, and somebody asked for his autograph, and the fan proceeds to tell him to keep his head up. Guys, he looks broken, man. He looks so sad. I might be headed towards the Dan Orlovsky bandwagon as far as he might just need a fresh start. And this thing just went bad so quickly. So remind me, Trey Lance, he was traded in the 3rd season, right? So 1st season kind of sits, was a bit injured. 2nd season, he breaks his foot. And then the 3rd season, he got moved, right? It was 3.
Yes, because it was Brock's 2nd year, and Brock was drafted the year after.
So this is basically, Bryce Young. This is his 2nd year, and I think the difference is Trey. It took longer because there were injuries involved. It was less about poor play. It was an outstanding play, but it was less about the poor play. Bryce Young, you got a 16-game sample size. I don't even know if Trey Lance still hasn't gotten to 16 starts in the NFL. And I don't know if he ever will.
Not even close.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever will. So I think
Josh Rosen, 3 teams, 3 years. That was his entire career.
Josh Rosen.
Arizona rookie year, went 3-10, then was traded to Miami, 0-3 in Miami, and then didn't play a game for Atlanta. And then his career was over, just like that.
Wow.
He's 2 of 11 that last season with Atlanta and threw 2 picks.
You think
11 throws.
You think he had to get how much money you think he made? You think he needed to get another job? What if he popped up with a podcast?
You know.
What if?
Who's watching that?
Nobody.
He's an NFL quarterback.
This is the point.
He's an NFL quarterback. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Deebo podcast. Speaking of player podcasts.
I would like to say they could have used my Deebo weather drop. I would like some royalties, unlike how
there's no royalties because they didn't use it.
Under Armour did Chris, but no, I'm saying they could have, and they probably should have named it Deebo weather because that would have been cool.
He probably would have got a look the same way Brandon Aiyuk gave Liv Moods a look when she asked a question that we will get into during top stories at the top of the hour. But speaking of Brandon Aiyuk, this is Brandon Aiyuk when he was asked. And guys, look, they got asked these questions. You got to think they had a feeling they were going to be asked these questions. This is Brandon Aiyuk when he was asked about staying with the Niners.
Take us back to the day, Aiyuk, that you signed your contract extension. Okay. What ultimately made you want to make it work with the 49ers and stay here long term?
Just being with my people, the people that I know, people that I've been around for the past 4 years, the people that I've got to see have kids, got to see their kids grow up a little bit. They got to see me have kids, see my kids grow up a little bit. So really just sticking with the family,
Yeah. Does 49ers, does this feel like home for you?
For sure.
Yeah. I think, again, I think people forget that this is not just a job for you guys and a passion, but it also does become your family. Like, you truly establish a lot of relationships. And how were you feeling during that time, Deebo? Was it tough, maybe weighing the option of potentially not having him with you on the field?
Me personally, like, I kind of had a sense in my head that it was gonna work out, but like I told him early on through, like, before it even started, I said, bro, like, it's going to be tough times, bro. It's not going to go as smooth as you wanted to go. Cause like, I'd have been through it, and like, it's nothing that you can really tell somebody until like, they actually go through it on their own. And that time is rough.
That's so terrible, dude. That Aiyuk is
Brandon, if you don't want to be there, like, just say no to the invite, right?
He's spinning in his chair. Bizarre. Can you hear that coming through the
like
mic?
A kiddo.
Dude,
like a toddler.
He did that when he signed the.
He did do that when he signed.
Yeah, so when he signed the contract. Maybe it's a nervous twitch or something.
Dude, this show is so. This is the worst one yet. The only good one is the Jeff Teague one. That's the only good one.
Okay, I thought you were only talking the NFL. I do
it's
think
the only good one.
We have to see what happens next.
I don't think this is
because we thought this was going to be a Micah. At least I thought it was going to be Micah Parsons setup. Just cook Deebo, and I was curious to see how that would go.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the more unique setups because even with Podcast P, who he's straight up media now, but even Podcast P, he basically leads that.
Yeah, pretty
show.
much. Yeah, for the most part.
Deebo is just getting interviewed every week.
They're throwing up graphics too, like it's Pat McAfee.
Yes.
You know what they threw up?
Those were the sounds if you were listening.
Yeah, so they don't play music like ESPN or whatever, but they threw up a graphic of the breaking news tweet that Aiyuk signed the contract. Is that necessary?
Why did you, what made you want to stay? Family, people that I know.
They put a lot of money into this.
Didn't mention once like the style of play, the players, like, anything like that.
They got kids. I got kids. They eat cereal.
This is
I kind of already know them pretty much. Like, pretty much Brandon Aiyuk's answer is, I already know him.
And then was it weird to you? And maybe this is just the type of guy he was or he is when they said, when Liv says, does this feel like home to you? He's just like, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
What like, was no that, excitement. Guys?
They were told they've clearly just like Nate the other day with Return of the Empire. They clearly had practice and then completely forgot that after practice they had to do this hour-and-a-half long podcast, and they were like, "Oh man, like we gotta do it today." Yeah. All right, come on, like let's just go sit down. She'll ask us questions, we'll answer it. and it's fine. Like the paycheck clears anyway.
You think this is? Let me. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
Return of the Empire had high energy, not low energy.
Yeah, no, it did not sound like that.
Let me ask you this question: do you think these guys, specifically in the Deebo situation, because it's his show, is this just a? Do you think that Draymond likes to do this?
Yes.
Like to be. I haven't heard that in a while.
I missed it.
Paul George likes to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Micah Parsons likes to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think there are certain guys that are just saying their agents are coming to him saying, you could turn down this bag if you want, or you could just kind of sell it.
Right.
And Deebo's just saying, fine, let's just get this bag.
Yes.
And then there will be a situation where Bleacher Report or whoever just says, hey, this is just not good.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't seem like you want to be.
It
doesn't seem like you want to be there doing it. You can't sell this.
Right.
You can't just cook it.
Right.
You can't just cook the whole show, Deebo. So I wanted to let you cook a little bit, Chris, and just as far as the player podcast situations and how much you enjoy them, how much they are unnecessary, and who you would listen to. Nate brought up Kings, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that these. I just think I've become. I mean, you've outlined it great just throughout our time here in general talking about player pods, but like I just don't know exactly what the point is, and it feels like, or at least it feels like the point has been lost. Like you always say, like the initial point of this was like all you get is these sound bites, and we don't get to control which sound bites go out. And so this is our opportunity to expand and elaborate. Nothing we ever say will get twisted, because now we have unlimited time to expand on whatever we want to expand on. And it feels like they've just thrown themselves into the machine. It feels like there's nothing different. There's nothing unique. You're not providing any sort of different insight or perspective. And the weird thing is, I mean, the player pods that I think have worked the best are ones that aren't really about them specifically talking about the week-to-week nature of their sport.
Right.
I don't really need Micah Parsons to do what Stephen A. Smith or Greeny are doing. Like the first player podcast I ever listened to was the Road Tripping podcast with Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. And that was more just literally, it's called Road Tripping. It was about, we have a 5-game road trip. We're going to record. We're going to talk about, oh man, the other day, Kyrie, he tried to give us all his shoes and LeBron wouldn't wear them. And he was just like,
at that point, they weren't really playing that much.
No,
guys.
exactly. Yeah. And they were on that Cavs team that ended up, having to come back against the Warriors and all that stuff. But I'm more saying that to say, I think the thing that people want from the player pods, if I had to assume, is like the insight, is the fun stuff, is the behind the scenes stuff. And it feels like instead these pods have become, again, like here is Micah Parsons doing a version of Colin Cowherd. And I just don't know why they would be
but the Deebo thing, that wasn't even that. That was just even bizarre.
I think this has now turned into a completely different thing, like you've explained, where this seems like it's more of just, we want as many athletes on podcasts as possible, and we're going to pay you to do it, regardless of if you have a passion for it, if you even care about it. This is going to be mutually beneficial because it's good for your brand. You'll be, whatever. People will be talking about you. People just spend all summer talking about Brandon Aiyuk. Let's not forget about Deebo Samuel. And I just think that, again, you say it all the time, but it feels like we've just lost the point of these podcasts. And, to bring it to what Nate was saying about, what would be a podcast we would want to listen to. I do think a part of the Deebo thing that I just don't think is going to work. I don't think he's very entertaining. And maybe if it were, I'm not a fan, but yes, exactly. Maybe if it's a George Kittle podcast, maybe that has a little bit more entertainment value, has a little bit more fun. Maybe there's jokes. I think for a Kings podcast, like I'm not going to listen to, I probably wouldn't listen to, besides work, like a De'Aaron Fox podcast. But if it's a De'Aaron and Malik podcast, I think all of a sudden, again, there's a layer of, okay, they can, kind of BS with each other back and forth, make fun of each other. Maybe they'll tell some insights about what's going on back then. This is just feels like Deebo Samuel and especially Brandon Aiyuk were held hostage and told, we have questions for you to answer. And it's going on Bleacher Report. And so I just don't think that this is productive. And I feel like this is the slippery slope of we give everybody, we're just throwing money out there because we see that it's successful. Here's our attempt at just doing a cheap version of it.
Yeah, the whole thing, it just was off. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo, do you think that the practice finished or whatever, do you think they were excited to do this show?
Clearly not.
Let me ask you another question. Do you feel like, and I got to be honest with you, I didn't listen to the whole thing because I got small ears and I can't deal with the pain like that. But from the clips you heard, did you learn, to your point, did you learn anything? The whole thing was, y'all not in the locker room. Right. We in the locker room. Were those answers any different from what they would say to a normal set of media members?
As a matter of fact, I think Brandon Aiyuk's answer was worse than what he would give to a media. I don't think there's any world in which Brandon Aiyuk, when asked, hey, like, what really got the deal done for you here in San Francisco, I don't think his answer to the media in a press conference setting would ever be, the guys, like just families and, getting along. Like you would, I just think that it would be, it would probably be a lot more spirited. He would know that there's a lot more eyeballs. It felt like they didn't think anyone's going to ever hear this or see this podcast almost, where they're like, I don't care about the quotes that come out from this. We are recording. And then when we're done, somebody's going to put this.
Maybe they thought it was a draft. Maybe
they did. Yeah, maybe it was a pilot that never was meant to see the light.
Look, when it comes to this industry
it's just bad.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
When it comes to this industry that we're a part of, the goal is to either be the goal is to either be informational or entertaining. Yes. Hopefully, you're a little bit of both. Hopefully, you're a lot of both. Mm-hmm. But that was neither. No. So look, we'll see what happens in episode 2 because now I'm just hooked because it's so bad. I have to see what happens next, but thank you to Brandon Aiyuk. And we have one more clip coming in the 1 o'clock hour. And Nate is just shaking his head. And this is my favorite clip. And we have to do the best we can.
Let's just play the whole show for the 4 o'clock hour.
We have to do the best we can to illustrate the looks on Brandon Aiyuk's face when he gets asked this question. But coming up next, it's time. We are leaving the gridiron and headed to the basketball court. We're going around the NBA. Will a superstar find himself in Northern California? And yeah, it's that time. Ben Simmons, he's back. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
A new Honda? Nice. Well, it was like this. It was a super hot day, so we all stopped for some ice cream. When bam, the AC went out. My dad started sweating and was all, man, I stink. And my brother was like, I hate this car. And my mom was all, I'm dying in here. Then I said, it's time to call Stockton Honda. Then Dad was like, honey, you're right. I knew you were my favorite. And just like that, Stockton Honda to the rescue.
StocktonHonda.com.
She used to meet me on the side.
Khalid, live in concert. See him performing at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. Get tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss the sensational Khalid for one night only at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. For more, visit KhalidOfficial.com.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting their focus be on what's most important, your family, or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Advanced Infusion Center, where we prioritize your comfort and well-being. Whether you're managing a chronic condition or seeking specialized IV therapy, our state-of-the-art center offers tailored solutions to meet your needs. Advanced Infusion Center's dedicated healthcare professionals are here to ensure your safety and provide personalized care. Conveniently located in Sacramento and Yuba City with flexible scheduling options. Experience a new standard in infusion therapy. Visit Advanced Infusion Center today at advancedinfusion.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers, the No Surprise guys. We love that old song, Respect. You know, RESPECT. It's a good song and a good business philosophy. At Bell Brothers, everything we do is designed to show respect for our customers. We show up on time out of respect. Our technicians are clean-cut, friendly, and wear identification badges out of respect. We do good deeds for free for our customers and leave their homes cleaner than we found them. That's right, out of respect. So, if you want plumbing and AC service from a company that will show you some RESPECT, call Bell Brothers. We promise to respect your time, your home, and you. Call Bell Brothers right now to schedule an $87 precision tune-up. Or call if you have plumbing problems. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip. Brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Two hours down, 2 to go, and 1 hour to go before we give away tickets. UC Davis football is back in action this Saturday. Sacktown Sports has once again proudly partnered up with the UC Davis football to keep you laced up with the Aggies all season long. 1 p.m., we will find our caller, our lucky number. We will give that away to score our Stiles and Watkins family 4-packs and parking to check out the Aggies hosting Utah Tech this Saturday. 530 is asking, wasn't Rosen a backup for the Niners when we were talking about?
Yeah.
But yes, at that point, yeah.
As I was looking at Josh Rosen's football reference page, it's pretty insane to see all the transactions that this man went through in just like 3 years. It's like he was waived by the Dolphins, then he was signed 2 months later by the Bucks, and then he was cut by the Bucks in the middle of December. Then the Niners signed him the next day, and then in August they waive him. Then the Falcons sign him, and then the Falcons cut him, and then the Browns sign him. Then the Browns waive him. Then the Browns sign him back, and then they cut him, and then they put him on his practice squad, and then the Vikings sign him to the practice squad, and then the Vikings release him. And Josh Rosen hasn't had a job since January 2023.
He might be the answer for the worst quarterback that could win the gold medal at the flag football.
Don't know if he can win it.
Yeah, he might not even be good enough. I mean, talk to Homeboy. We haven't heard from Homeboy in a while. The 5'9" or 5'8" or the quarterback for the USA flag football squad. But maybe Josh Rosen. I want the most random names trying out for that position. I want the most random. Sure. I want T.O. I want Ocho Cinco. I want everybody trying out for that team. But we take a trip around the NBA. Chris, thank you, Nate. Outstanding timing on that one. Here you go, Chris. This is per Sam Amick, the Warriors. And you're going to love this wording here.
Okay.
The Warriors have dreams of acquiring Giannis Antetokounmpo. He also says Golden State may also look at going after Jimmy Butler in 2025 via free agency. Look, is this a conversation as to why they wanted to hold up the conversations with Podziemski and Kuminga? Kuminga's been called a mini Giannis, at least in the Bay Area, Chris. Look, I'll start here. I think it's funny to me that you have a 36-year-old guard and you're essentially selling this season. I mean, they're talking about what they're going to do next free agency or a deal. I don't think the Bucks are not moving off of Giannis this year. They're gonna see what Giannis and Dame can do, and that would be hilarious. That would be a Devontae Adams situation with Dame finally getting to a team with a big 2, big 3, and then the Bucks trading one Giannis and him being the one again. But I'm not saying that the Warriors aren't interested, and I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in Giannis and Jimmy Butler if they become available. I just think it's funny that they're just cooking this season. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it should also be noted that Sam in a podcast with Tim Kawakami said that the Hall of Famer landing in Golden State is, quote, unlikely, even if it is, quote unquote, worth monitoring whether, quote, the wheels fall off the Bucks. So even then, Sam's not really saying it's going to happen or something that we should be actively looking for, but more just so that if things fall apart, again, there is going to be a Giannis market, and all the best teams are going to be involved in it. I am a little bit surprised that the Warriors are selling this season, but I also think that this is kind of the only path they have unless they're willing to, throw all the eggs in one basket. I think it's just they weren't really fully prepared for all of this, and I don't really know why. I don't know how you didn't see the writing on the wall here that Clay was potentially going to leave after you signed Draymond to the deal that he was signed to 2 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, it's really strange to me that no one's I think it's because there's this Warrior mystique that goes around that people think that the Warriors are going to be competitive this year. And I just think that cannot be I don't want to say farthest from the truth, but I just think that they are very much underselling how difficult it's going to be for them to remain competitive this season. I just think that actually the thing is that they're so delusional, they think that they actually are pretty competitive this year.
Yeah. What was it? Was it 39? It was either 36.5 or 39.5. For some reason, I think the Warriors are going to be a little bit better than what people think. I just think it doesn't really matter. To be completely honest with you, I think they might win more games than what Vegas thinks. I just think it doesn't really matter. I just think they don't have enough, and I just think that that's not what you're trying to do.
43.5.
43.5. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I just think that even if they get to 44, 45, what are we talking about? I just ultimately, what you're trying to do with what you have with Steph Curry. So to me, they're just not close to that, and just selling a season where injuries can happen, anything can happen. This doesn't make very much sense. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And
they have the 10th best odds in terms of over-under. They have the 10th highest over-under in the West.
And I just don't...
Tied with the Lakers and Rockets.
I think the only thing that makes any type of sense is if you're talking about getting some type of big fish in February, if they are hunting. But there's so many ifs. Then you have to make the deal. Then you have to...
It's got to be the right deal.
And then you have to develop that chemistry. You're still... Either way, you're selling this season.
Yes.
Either way, you are selling this season. And to do that... And you can say the same thing about the Lakers and one LeBron James, but, both those situations just haven't made very much sense. But this does make sense, Chris, because of the timing. It's time to talk Ben Simmons. Chris Brickley says Ben Simmons, and that could have been Ben Simmons' last name. Ben Simmons is now better than he was during his all-star seasons. He says Ben is healthy, moving very well. He is better now than his all-star seasons. I've never co-signed a player that didn't prove it when their season started. Trust me on this one. C. Brickley, who is it, Chris? A shooting coach or just a player? Independent development coach. He's just a trainer that a lot of people like to go to. A lot of players like to go to. And he goes on to say Ben Simmons is back to playing all-star talent level basketball, big season loading. All right. I mean, I guess you could always say if you're Chris Brickley, well, I finally got one wrong if it doesn't work out for Ben Simmons. Chris, are you falling for the yearly dupe? I don't even know if it happened last season because he wasn't playing, but are you falling for the yearly dupe of Ben Simmons making a return?
No. Answer me this. How is Chris Brinkley going to say this when Ben Simmons in those workouts is doing one-on-one skills? How does Ben Simmons look great at an all-star level in a 1-versus-0 workout setting? Like, what does it look like? What does a good Ben Simmons workout look like? Because he's not. I mean, he made
moving
threes. Like, just because he's making open threes in a training session does not mean he's going to be hitting any sort of shot.
We saw JaVale. We saw JaVale doing the same thing
all the time. Rashawn Holmes before every game is working out behind the 3-point line. Just because you have the ability to do it doesn't mean that you will do it in a game. And Ben Simmons' question marks are not about his skill. It's about what happens when he plays 5-on-5 basketball. And we still have not seen him do that, period, in a very long time. We have not seen him do it well, I don't know, pre-pandemic, right? I can't even remember the last time Ben Simmons was an impact basketball player.
No, I saw him at the Met Gala, though.
Hey,
and
there you go. Look great.
Places like that. I saw him at, what was it, last year's U.S. Open in Brooklyn.
Hey.
But just he loves what basketball brings him. He just doesn't actually love playing basketball. That's been my take on Ben Simmons for years now. Last but not least, Chris, we wanted to get back into this a little bit. Shams Charania, Chris Haynes, Jake Fisher. ESPN needs somebody to fill that role. Is there any way this doesn't go? If there was betting for this, I mean, Shams would have the craziest odds. Is there any way this doesn't go to Shams? I guess somebody could price ESPN out, but I don't see that happening.
No, I think Shams, ESPN's going to throw whatever money Shams wants at him. It is huge for them to get him. They cannot allow him to go somewhere else because if Shams goes somewhere else, I don't know who their newsbreaker is going to be. I mean, and we talked about earlier the value of ESPN having that name on the ticker. I think that Shams makes all the sense in the world. He's young. He's got all the right sources. It makes all the sense in the world.
Coming up next, CBS has their top 100 players. Who is too high? Who is too low? We play a little Price is Right with the NBA top 100. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sacktown Sports and sacktownsports.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
CBS Sports has come out with their top 100 players. Who's too high? Who's too low? And how many Kings players are on this list? All right, Chris, just off the top right here, you have DeMar DeRozan coming in at 53. You have just who else is around him? You have DeMar DeRozan at 53. Julius Randle is at 54. DeJounte Murray at 52. Franz Wagner at 51. Brandon Ingram at 50. So that's who is in his area. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but when De'Aaron Fox at 27, you have it's so funny how all these lists, it's almost like De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis package deal. They're always right next to each other, I feel like, in a lot of these lists and conversations. So you have those two guys right there. And really, I think it's a good start. Keegan Murray is at 89, Chris, and you have Malik Monk, who is not on this list unless I missed it. So you have a couple guys, 4 guys on the top 100 list as according to CBS. Some of the other names, when you see Malik Monk isn't on there, and again, I'm kind of surprised at that. But you have Jabari Smith at 100, Klay Thompson at 99, Kyle Kuzma at 98, Bogdan Bogdanovic at 97, Lou Dort at 96, KCP at 95, Andrew Nembhard at 94, Marcus Smart at 93, Jalen Green at 92, Nicholas Claxton at 91, Derek Lively the second at 90, and like I said, Keegan Murray at 89. Are we smelling a bit of a snub with Malik Monk not being on this list, or
sure?
No?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, he's probably better than a good handful of those guys. I think it might be a little bit of, when you're making these 100 lists, there's some people that you just want to make a statement by putting in, and maybe Malik is just kind of one of those people that was forgotten about because he got hurt at the end of last year. But yeah, for sure, you could definitely make the argument pretty easily that he is a top 100 player, but just not on this list.
Yeah. Some of the other names that we said, I don't have a problem with Keegan at 89. I think he's got a lot to show still. You have DeMar DeRozan, what was he, 53? I don't necessarily have a problem with that. And then, like we said, high 20s with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis at 27 and 28. Any surprises, Chris, from what you saw to round out the top 10? Nikola Jokic at 1, Giannis at 2, Luka at 3, Shea at 4, 5 is Joel Embiid, Steph Curry at 6, Jason Tatum at 7, LeBron James at 8, Kevin Durant at 9, Anthony Edwards at 10.
No, not really. Mm-hmm. I don't have any issue with any of those. I mean, yeah, I think Giannis is still kind of. I'm glad that he's still at number 2. I think a lot of people have forgotten how great Giannis can be just because he's been injured in the playoffs these past couple years. Feels like he's just kind of gone by the wayside, and a lot of the conversation more so around Luka and Shea nowadays. But in terms of the top 10 list, I mean, I think as a regular season player, Joel might be able to be ahead of some of those other guys. Maybe he deserves to be number 3 more than Luka and Shea. But, I just think the injury history and the fact that, again, he hasn't really been super healthy just in general probably hurts him a bit. But I kind of think that list is almost perfect for the top 10.
Yeah, leaving the top 10, Anthony Davis at number 11, Victor Wembanyama at number 12, Jalen Brunson at 13, Devin Booker at 14, Jaylen Brown at 15. This is where it gets kind of squirrely for me, Chris, and I think this is where it typically does get squirrely. When you have Ja Morant at 16, Tyrese Halliburton at 17, Kawhi Leonard at 18, Donovan Mitchell, I don't really have a problem with that 19, Paul George at 20, and some of the names we talked about yesterday in front of De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie, and Dame at 25 and 26, and Tyrese Maxey at 24. Jimmy Butler at 22, I guess I could see it. I think I have a problem with Ja Morant at 16. And I think I have a problem with Tyrese Halliburton at 17. Those two seem a bit high for me.
Where would you like them put?
They just feel like they should be in the 20s to me. I mean, Ja didn't even play last season. Mm-hmm. I guess I could make more of an argument. You can make more of an argument for Tyrese in the top 20 than Ja, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like Ja Morant, maybe he'll get back there, but to put him at 16, it's almost like what I've said before with backup QBs. A lot of times these backup QBs, and we've seen it before, They spend a year not playing, but they're in a productive system, and then they get another chance. We're seeing it right now with Sam Darnold. Now, J.J. McCarthy was probably going to start, but we're seeing it with Sam Darnold. We saw it with, I think, Mitch Trubisky got another shake after he sat behind Josh Allen, and it's just you forget how good maybe somebody is. You also forget the deficiencies that somebody has, and I think that Ja Morant not playing and the Grizzlies being so bad, I think there's a little bit of overcorrection there being done, and I just don't think Ja Morant is the 16th best player in the league right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't either. It's just with how the list is kind of constructed, it's a little like I don't know about moving. I mean, I think De'Aaron's a better player, but I don't want to put De'Aaron up towards 16. I also think De'Aaron at this exact time is better than Tyrese, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just I think it's a little bit tough when you do these top 100 lists. Like I would probably rather do this in a tier system than individually ranking, because I don't also think that De'Aaron is the 16th best player in the NBA, but I do think that De'Aaron is better than Ja and Tyrese currently today. So I don't really know what to do with that. But I do think, I think Ja is going to have a good season. I do definitely have some of the concerns that I think were still there before he goes down and before all the other stuff happened that made him miss games as well. Still isn't really a shooter much at all. I still have some questions about how that Grizzlies team is all going to come together after not having Ja in that system for a while. You know, I think a lot of guys, Desmond Bane specifically, kind of started to get comfortable being a lead scorer. Jaren Jackson had a lot more weight on his shoulders these past couple years. We'll see with Ja. I just think that lists like this can be a little bit tricky, just because when you're trying to fit in 100 names, I think just naturally we're going to not be thrilled about, somebody being here and then maybe feel like they should be higher. And then, the list can get kind of misconstrued, but I definitely think De'Aaron probably overall deserves to be a little bit higher. And yeah, I mean, I just don't know where exactly he belongs, but I think we talked about it a bit yesterday. There's a world where De'Aaron for sure is a top 20 player in this league after this year if it goes well.
Yeah, and I have more beef with where Ja is than where De'Aaron is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't play last season, and it's not like this guy is. It's not like a Joe Burrow situation where he went down, but the last time you saw Joe Burrow, he went to a Super Bowl or things like that. It's not like Ja went. It's not like Ja is an MVP. It's not like Ja went to a finals or anything like that. So he's the flashy guy, and he he's got the dunks and the highlight reels and everything like that. And I think a lot of that matters, and people do like stuff like that. Well, I know what Sacramento will like. The Sac 12 outlines their plan for the Pac-12, and Mountain West says, but what about me? We have those outlined planned for you when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, The Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's winds blowing across a fruited plain, and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. It's hard-hitting football, and an even harder-hitting price estimate from your general contractor. That's a star-spangled bummer. It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The last 6 Sacramento Rivercats games of the 25th anniversary season are packed with promotions and theme nights. Join us for Hispanic Heritage Night on September 17th, the Rivercats Golfer Hat Giveaway on September 20th, our inaugural Harry Potter Night on September 21st, and cap off the homestand with Fan Appreciation Day for the final game of the season on Sunday, September 22nd. Make your way to the ballpark for a farewell to the River Cats of 2024. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets today.
For most of the people that walk in our store, it's been an ongoing, nonstop issue, and they're finally walking into the Good Feet store. Okay, the guy that came into my store last year that has had plantar fasciitis for 30 years. I looked at him, I said, "Are you kidding me? I've been here for 14. Where have you been?" I helped relieve a problem that's plagued him for 30 years. I mean, how do you not go home and talk about that?
Come to the Good Feet store now for a free fitting and test walk.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
You guys got a new Honda? Well, it was like this. My mom was driving me to school when, bam, our car started smoking. My mom wasn't happy, so she called my dad and said, "Honey, if you value your life and our marriage, you'll take care of this now." So my dad calls up Stockton Honda and was like, "Can you get me approved for a new car and save my marriage?" And they're all, "Sure, Mr. Jones, we do this every day." And just like that, Stockton Honda to the rescue. StocktonHonda.com.
High voltage live boxing action returns to Northern California Saturday, September 21st at the venue at Thunder Valley with Thunder Showdown featuring the undefeated 12th ranked welterweight in the world, Amari Jones. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Play cards subject to change.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Sacktown Sports.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Minutes away from UC Davis. Aggie up! Their tickets, family 4-pack this Saturday, hosting Utah Tech. I'll be golfing, by the way. And I don't know, Chris, if I should say where, since you had some jokes about it. Could be a potential. Basically, I'll say it like this. We won't say where, but I told Chris where I was golfing because I have a whole day planned. Golfing, then we're going to the fight later. Yeah. We're going to have some fun. And the place where I told Chris I'm going, Chris just said, keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah. Bring your hard hat. Bring your hard hat.
And when I went there before, it's pretty inexpensive.
Yes.
When I went there before, Chris, almost got smoked.
Yeah.
It actually hit the guy that I was playing with. I was playing with two randos. Yeah. It hit his cart.
Yeah. And the problem with that place is nobody yells for. Nobody it's one thing if it's like a war zone there and bombs are just falling left and right, but can I at least get a 4 left?
Now I'm scared.
That's probably should be.
That's what you get for cheap golf, man. I'm not dropping 70.
No,
dropping half.
It wasn't just cheap golf. I used to work at a country club. I've been hit before. It's not always a 4. It's not always. So it's not just about being cheap. It's sometimes the older guys can't see the ball. They don't know where its head is.
Yeah, it's something else, man. All right, as we talk about things to do in Sacramento, the Sac-12. Chris has some notes on the Sac-12. Outlining their plan to get into the Pac-12.
Yes, this just dropped. Carmichael Dave is where I saw it. Might have been somebody else who actually did break it, but the Sac-12, as we talked about the other day, is the commission here in Sacramento with local politicians and I believe also just investors as well. It has nothing to do with Sac State officially, no official ties to Sac State, but this is Sacramento's commission to try and get the Pac-12 to Sac State, and they've outlined 5 how would I describe this? This is their path, I guess. This is the 5 steps that they have outlined as the path to get to Pac-12 athletics here to Sacramento. Number 1, securing $50 million in NIL commitments to cover the first 10 years in the Pac-12. Number 2, securing funding and approvals to build a new state-of-the-art football stadium that seats at least 25,000 attendees. Number 3, securing funding that approves and approvals to build a basketball arena that sits at least 6,500 attendees, turning out at least 15,000 attendees per home football game for the remainder of the season. And number 5 is securing $5.25 million in conference fees for NCAA realignment into the Pac-12. So I guess the really big thing about those, of course, the attendance and the just getting the funds to get the actual realignment is huge. But to me, the big things that I'm reading from there is those 2 stadiums are absolutely massive. Sac State, we were talking about it the other day. The Nest, is just it's not it. I mean, it is very, very outdated, especially for college basketball. If you have any sort of recruits out there, I mean, shout out to Sac State basketball for being able to really recruit people to their program at all, because that gym, there's nothing really spectacular about it at all. And if they can get a new building, I think that would go a really long way. The football stadium is definitely passable as it currently is, but if you get a new state-of-the-art, something that looks like it belongs in the Pac-12 here in Sacramento, I literally can't even imagine that. Like that is absolutely insane. That is massive. Not even just for, as we think about just traditionally, the football games and things like that, but I'm sure you can have a lot of events at a 25,000 capacity football stadium. That could be big just for Sacramento in general. So, of course, it would be absolutely phenomenal if they can get these things crossed off and to get Pac-12 football here, or Pac-12 athletics here in general, I think is going to be a massive, massive accomplishment for Sacramento. Still don't know if it's even realistic, really, but I do think the fact that we are actively seeing these guys try and put together a plan that can make it happen, that to me feels like a really, really big step forward. And I think that all of these things outlined here are the right things that these people should be focusing on.
So a couple questions, and maybe this just remains to be seen. Are they trying to get into the Mountain West for the time being and then go to the Pac-12, or are they just trying to go straight to the Pac-12?
They're shooting for the stars.
Okay.
Okay with landing on the moon, I think.
Okay. Second question. The state-of-the-art football stadium and the basketball arena, are they trying to get into the Pac-12 while that's being built, or once that is built, or once they are built?
Yeah, I would imagine that it's probably goes hand in hand, that you probably have to at least, again, it says securing the funding and approvals to build. So I would assume that it's here is our, not just plan, but like here are ready to go actions that we can make the second you sign off on it. Because I would imagine you don't want to put all of this money forward and then still be, no disrespect whatsoever, but still be in the big sky and have all of these money invested into it. And sure, maybe you can dominate your level, but I mean, you're just probably never going to get the return on investment. So I would imagine, not confirming definitely, but I would imagine that this is more so getting your ducks in line so that when asked, hey, your stadium's not up to snuff, what are we going to do about that? You are then immediately ready to show we have plans, we have money, we have everything needed to get it done. We just need to get the approval for Pac-12 first, and then we're getting shovels in the ground.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think this is great stuff for Sac State, and hopefully they're able to pull it off. I guess that's the next part of this. Have they talked to the Pac? Did the Pac-12 say yes?
Pac-12 has to send out an invitation,
right? And they think that if they do all of this, they will get that, or if they check all this stuff off, they will get that invitation.
I would think so. I would think that even like something as simple as just having this out there, like, is a step. Like, we don't know. Tulane is a school that I saw is going to possibly be up for Pac-12 expansion. Like, I don't know anything about Tulane's facilities, but like maybe this puts Sac State a shoe ahead of them because, again, we know what exactly they're going to provide. They are actively trying to make it work. And I think if obviously in a new Pac-12 or whatever, however many teams they're going to try and have in there, I would imagine they want to put their best foot forward and have it not be, hey, this is just a cash grab where we had all these schools give us money to try and legitimize the Pac, whatever. Again, I would imagine that having Sac State come in there and whatever new schools come in there and legitimately try and throw money at it and try and make it into something semi-legitimate. I mean, I definitely think that that's probably a really big step forward, even just getting themselves above, like, I don't know anything about Davis and maybe their plans to get further expansion, but I would imagine that even having this out there gets you ahead of, for example, if Davis is interested. At least we know Sac has an official plan where maybe some of these other schools don't even have the plan yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a world where we don't know what's going to happen with the A's, but you're talking about the A's in Sacramento, possibly Pac-12 in Sacramento with Sac State. You have obviously the Kings, right? And you still have the River Cats. So, I mean, this is a new day for Sacramento if everything gets checked off, and you can't forget the Sac Republic and whatever is going to happen there.
It's Pac-12 across the board too. We're not just talking football, right? Like we're going to get Pac-12 basketball. We're going to get Pac-12, golf, lacrosse, baseball, everything. Like it's the full package. And I mean, Vivek talks a lot about, not that he's involved in this Sac-12 thing, but Vivek talks all the time, more so when he was being interviewed about the A's thing. He wants there to be something to do every single day here in Sacramento when it comes to sports. And I think this is a big step forward towards that. I mean, again, like if UCLA is, well, I guess not UCLA anymore, but if Washington State, God, I can't remember who's in the Pac-12 these days. If Washington State is here in Sacramento for a little 3-game baseball series, hey, you can go see some possibly quality baseball here in Sacramento, where I guess maybe there's going to be an abundance now. But the point is that you get something potentially every single night that is at least at a fairly high level here.
Well, and I think the other thing is, too, just being at the same level as these other teams. And Cal's been hilarious, by the way. I don't know if you've gotten wind of their Twitter.
It's insane. I can't avoid it.
And they are taking Twitter by storm, as Cal is off to a great start. But even though they're not in the same conference, it might be easier for you to get a out of conference Cal game.
Yeah.
Cal comes,
for sure.
Like you said, UCLA might come up. I mean, this is D1, FBS.
Yeah.
So UCLA, they
travel
might come
wise
up.
too. They're probably sick and tired of going to the East Coast.
Exactly. So you might get you could get a USC.
Yeah.
Sac State going to USC. So I think the possibilities, even with the conferences not being the same, just everything being in Northern California and getting to play a different team that you don't normally get to. I think that'll be funny now that I think about it, is that Stanford playing UCLA or Cal playing Stanford, or Cal playing USC or whoever. Now that's out of conference.
Yeah, it is out of
conference
enough. Yep.
But so there will be a lot of mixing and mingling going on there. So I think it's well done by the Sac-12, by that committee, to lay this thing out and really just go after what they want. And no disrespect to the Mountain West, but if there's an opportunity and you think that this is a realistic opportunity, you got to go out and get what you want, and now's the time to do it, where, Pac-12, they might not be as open. I mean, I think that technically Tulane might have a smidge more cachet nationally than Sac State. So if there's other Tulanes that pop up, who knows if Sac State's going to continue to have this opportunity. So while they're even being thought of in the conversation, you got to go now. You got to go now. Coming up next, we have a little bit of fun with Derek Carr. There is a correlation with Derek Carr playing well, and we will tell you what that is. And we discuss other random correlations that happen within sports. And then we have top stories at the top of the hour. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find De'Aaron Fox is Sacktown Sports.
Spins away from the defender. In the paint. Soft floater. That's a great play by De'Aaron Fox.
Hey, Sacramento. It's De'Aaron Fox, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Def Times. North American Tour 2025. Live in Sacramento. Golden One Center. Saturday, March 1st. With special guests, the Mars Volta and Fleshwater. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. For more, visit Deftones.com.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley's coming to town.
Getting drunk on a plane.
For his only show in California this year, Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park for Country in the Part 2.
What was I thinking?
And he's bringing some friends. Carmelie.
I want to close your eyes for this.
Tyler Rich.
Be the difference.
Dasha.
Did your boobs stop working?
And more. Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by the California Army National Guard and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House.
It's better over here.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered FlexSteel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Enjoy ultimate control of your home network. Personalize your Wi-Fi name and password. Assign user profiles. View and control connected devices and more with the Xfinity Internet app.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
"15 minutes away from our ticket giveaway, family 4-pack and parking to check out UC Davis football taking on Utah Tech Trailblazers this Saturday. Nate, what's the situation UC Davis? What's their tailgate situation like?
I don't think it's great tailgate wise because they have a parking garage which is layered, and you park there during the school year, and there's signs all over the garage that are like, at this level it'll take an hour to get out, and that's
What?
like, yeah. So
Wow.
the parking can be rough, but I would recommend, since Davis is, the heart of the town is the college, just get some food or just go into the town and just hang out. That's kind of like the
Just
tailgate.
go to a frat house and just tailgate there.
Yeah, dude, with my bros.
Nate, I never knew this officially. Like, what is picnic day?
That is
That's not
excuse to start.
technically a tailgate, right?
It's an excuse to start drinking at 6 a.m. for a lot of people. It is like just chaos in the town. It's as close.
But that's
as it
not
gets to
associated
Chico.
with like a football game at all, is it? It's just
No,
okay.
it's its own kind of entity.
Yeah, I think I went 3 of the 4 years that I was technically in college, and I never once learned what the reason was. Like you said, I mean, it really did just feel like a random date that they would decide, yeah, this is party day, and just all throughout Davis. It's just,
I want to go.
It's really fun. I mean, I never had a bad time at picnic day. I don't know. Can you still like have a time not as a student for picnic day? Like, or is it pretty mainly like, frat house and who kind of parties?
Before I even dreamed of attending UC Davis, before I even lived in Sacramento, I went to picnic day as a kid with the family. So there's family oriented events, but the frat houses and stuff do get pretty gnarly, but it's not
one last hoorah.
Baseball. I remember when I was in college, the baseball frat house at Davis was the one to get into.
It's not like Chico though, where they destroy the town and there's garbage everywhere after Halloween, because Davis, they care about the environment.
There you go. Speaking of Davis and the environment, Noah from West Sac 916.
The environment.
Back when you were talking about the Niners fans in Minnesota, my friend is from there, and they have 2 Niner bars in the Twin Cities.
Wow.
2 Niner bars. Are there any other random bars? Because I know Sacramento, a lot of Niner fans, good amount of Raider fans, also some random fans that are just, Vikings or whoever it is. Are there, how is that in Sacramento? Are there Eagles bars? Are there Cowboys bars?
Yeah, it's funny you said Eagles
Limelight's
bar
an Eagle
first.
bar.
Yeah,
that's right. You did. I think I did know that they weren't happy on Monday.
No, I went yesterday and they said Monday was not a great day at the Limelight.
But any other what teams are big enough that they deserve a bar in every decent size?
Steelers,
city?
the Cowboys, and Packers.
Yeah, those are probably the big 3.
Steelers, Cowboys.
Maybe the Niners ttoo. I mean, clearly, I think the Niners and Raiders. I think there's a decent shot that you'll find those guys anywhere. Yeah.
There's a specific Raider bar out here.
I don't know of any Vikings bar. I don't think so. Probably not a specific one, just because there is so many. Like it's entrenched here.
I need a specific. I want to walk.
There might be one. I've ever heard.
Feel the black and silver.
You could do a remote show there.
Yeah. Who I guess
probably don't have internet.
Did you say Eagles, Nate, or no?
Eagles was the first one you said.
Yeah.
That I think there's another place besides Limelight. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any others. Like Vikings. I
can't think of any Vikings bar.
I'm sure there's like weird little hole in the wall.
I'm sure Zebra Club is something.
Yeah. Any other? I'm just going up and down the teams now, but no Dolphins bar, right?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe you go on the Sacramento Reddit or something, and you can find a little something for everybody. But I would imagine that the big one. I know there's Eagles. I'm pretty confident I've seen a Packers bar before.
Verlage
there's a Steelers one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds. Verlage just told me. I don't know if this counts, but the Buffalo Wild Wings in Arden goes heavy on the Raiders.
Bro. No, we used to go there. Oh, not in Arden. I actually am unfamiliar with the Arden one. That wouldn't surprise me. But the Natomas Buffalo Wild Wings, we used to have to set up there every week for a different station that isn't here anymore when I worked there. And that bar, if you go to Buffalo and Natomas, there will be every single jersey in the entirety of the NFL there. So if you're just looking for a good melting pot,
sure,
that would be the place. But good luck finding a seat.
Niners bar melting pot place, kind of, if the Niners aren't playing, is players too in Fair Oaks.
Oh, really?
They have a lot of college games. They're lower players specifically.
Yeah.
I have some other teams here. Are they worthy of bars? You said Buffalo.
Worthy of bars?
Are they? Well,
what do you mean worthy of bars?
Are they big enough that here, or I would say anywhere? Well, I'm just saying, Buffalo Wild Wings, you said Buffalo. The Bills, they're crazy, right? Might be a Bills bar somewhere.
Maybe. Watch your tables, watch your foldouts.
Watch your tables. The Bears, the Browns. I don't think the Bengals, Lions, because they're good again. Chiefs.
It's because they're good.
Chiefs probably have a bar, I would say. So, yeah, I'm curious what all is out here. Patriots, they stink now, so they probably don't have any more.
I don't think you understand how the concept of these bars happen. It's not off of how good they are currently.
Jets probably have a bar somewhere.
Maybe, yeah.
Clear across the country.
We just got a call from Rico. He says Cheaters in Folsom is a Steelers bar.
My wife won't let me go there.
I'm aware of that place too.
Huh.
Good stuff. Hey, let us know. We want to help you help those out there that are maybe looking for something. It's still early in the NFL season.
Nothing worse than watching your team in public.
I agree. I am not.
You guys are homebodies, man.
Brother.
Definitely.
I need to be out. I need to spend money I shouldn't be spending.
A strange drunk man talking to you while you're trying to watch your game.
Yes.
I love the small talk. I love water cooler talk.
I'm just locked
I'm here to
in,
watch
bro.
the game.
I'm locked in.
I got to talk about Return of the Empire. I got to take notes.
Sure. That's all good. All good.
I cannot.
Well, we don't know if there are any Saints bars out here, but speaking of the Saints, I came across this, guys, with wifey at Dreamforce. I've been in a TikTok black hole, and I came across this on Derek Carr, and I just thought it was a funny note as we talk about Nick Castellanos and how he plays well during tragedies. This is something that came up with Derek Carr, and the question is MVP Derek Carr loading because of what is happening later this year? Here it is.
Election year Derek Carr is different. What? Something about the heightened political discourse of an election year really inspires Derek Carr's best football. Rewind to 2016 when he had almost 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and the lowest interception total of his entire career. He also had a game that year when he had 500 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. They were literally calling this man the MVP. All while this freak show was going on. Fast forward to the Stone Age election of 2020, you'll notice that Derek Carr had 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and his highest quarterback rating of his career. Which brings us to today, where we are 2 games into the NFL season, right at the peak of election season, and Derek Carr has already thrown 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and has 40-balled both the Cowboys and the Panthers. Derek Carr and his conservative political stances have somehow had a converse effect on his play on the football field because he's being very aggressive and it's working very well.
Are we buying election year Carr? I'm buying election year Carr. I mean, every year you got Nick Castellanos and his tragedies. You have election Carr. I'm in. And you better get on the train right now because
this is a weird way of spinning that you're just a good quarterback every 4 years.
That's another way to look at this.
He treats the NFL like the Olympics.
Or second year in a system, starting to figure things out a little bit better.
So every 4th year, he's in the second year of a system?
Or
kind of. With the Raiders,
or something about the political environment just sparks good play in him. Maybe it is just as simple as that.
It's possible. But
that's
Derek
what the
Carr
implication is
making his return, and we will see how long it lasts. Coming up next, we get to the top stories at the top of the hour. A city up north gets a WNBA team. We'll tell you who it is and much more. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sacktown Sports. Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
It is time for the Family 4-pack ticket giveaway and parking. UC Davis football is back in action this Saturday. Sacktown Sports has once again proudly partnered up with UC Davis football to keep you laced up with the Aggies all season long. And right now, we are looking for caller number 3 on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140 to score our Stiles and Watkins Family 4-packs and parking to check out the Aggies hosting Utah Tech. Blazer up this Saturday. For more information, visit sacktownsports.com. Looking for caller number 3, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. Uh-oh, someone was too early. We got one. We're looking for caller number 3 here to get your family 4-pack with parking included. You know, Chris, we talked about something during the break, and we're about to get into top stories at the top of the hour as Nate is trying to figure out who caller number 3 is. And I made this mistake early in my career where the text line may lead you astray and they try to get you caught up with stuff. And all we're going to say is 916. We know what you're trying to do. Okay. They're claiming somewhere in Sacramento is a cowboy bar, and it is not. And I double checked with Chris and Nate first because this happened to me earlier on in my career, like I said, and Nate and Chris said, yeah, you're trying to get got. You're trying to get got. And that's from a Raiders fan. Come on, I'm wearing my Raiders shirt, trying to get me caught up. What's wrong with you, 916?
Real quick, can I ask you guys about something that has just absolutely overtaken all of my social feeds, Twitter and Instagram, and you are more so who I'm asking this about because I'm not on TikTok. Do you know anything about this Mudang? This little hippo that is probably, now that I'm mentioning it, going to be all over your social feeds. Apparently, Mudang is this pygmy hippo who is it's just like a mini hippo, I guess, and it is just completely taken over socials. I don't why she's so popular is just essentially there's a TikTok page that's dedicated to it's a Thailand zoo. The name means bouncing pig. I guess it's just a really, really cute hippo, but it has absolutely taken over all of my feeds. It's like, it is definitely going to be the meme that overwhelms your week. It is all over the place. And I'm shocked that I'm the only person who has seen it so far on the show, but I guarantee now you will see Mudang all over the place. And it's who I almost, you earlier brought up the third person in the Deebo podcast. You said their name. I thought that was the name of Mudang. I was like, oh yeah, no, Mudang.
I did too when you said it.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Well, no, but I just no relation to Luau Dang, right?
No, because this is a baby hippo, and Luau Dang is a basketball player.
Gotcha.
No relation.
Can't hurt to ask.
Yeah, it might hurt Luau Dang's feelings a little bit, but Mudang, 2 months old, flooded social media.
Shout out to Mudang.
Shout out to Moo.
That seems like a better name for a cow.
You're not wrong. I believe again the translation is bouncy pig.
Bouncy pig. Yeah. Well, now I can't wait to see it on my feed.
Cute. Yes,
as soon as that starts off.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be all over the place.
Well, that kicks us off, Chris,
sure
to the top stories at the top of the hour. There you go.
You can only visit her for 5 minutes at the Thailand Zoo for what it's worth.
Because very hot, very hot commodity right now. There you go. Let's get to, and what's going to be a hot commodity is the WNBA is back in Portland. The city previously had a WNBA team, the Portland Fire, from 2000 to 2002. And again, Chris, I know the Monarch dream felt dead before, just with the Valkyrie coming to the Bay Area and how close that is. But yeah, excited for the city of Portland. They do love their basketball, their Blazers, and all of that. How are you feeling about Portland getting a team back?
I honestly didn't even know Portland had a women's basketball team at all. They only existed for 2 years after doing some research on it. So I guess in a way, it definitely is them coming back, but I'm not sure how many people really even knew it existed in the first place. Good for Portland, great for Portland. It's some Kings minority owners, funny enough, that are the main ownership group that is bringing the WNBA team to Portland. So I know that's going to cause a bunch of frustration here in Sacramento. But from my understanding, they're also the same ownership group that owns the Portland Thorns, which is their NWSL team, their women's soccer league team. So I think it's just kind of a movement that they have over there. But also, from what I understand, Portland in general as a market is just a really, really booming women's sports market. So I think this is just them trying to add to that. Good for them, great for them. But I did look it up, and Portland and Seattle Storm, Portland, whatever their names are going to be, 3 hours apart.
Ooh.
So I feel like it's not crazy as we just kind of split it in half. Why can't we do Bay Area and Sacramento? Why not?
That's a good shout. That is a good shout right there. Speaking of shouting, next on our top stories at the top of the hour, here is Tyrese Halliburton, and he's really big into wrestling, and here he is at the WWE, and he let the NXT crowd know some things, as not just Tyrese Halliburton, a good bit of his whole squad was in the building. And here's Tyrese Halliburton, how funny he is talking on stage or in the ring at WWE NXT.
All right, y'all. Ava tried a little bit earlier. It didn't work. So I'm here to make sure Trick Williams and Ethan Page get this contract signed. But I ain't come alone. I brought my reinforcements of my own.
There's his Indiana Pacer teammates.
And I get it. I would boo too if I had to be an Orlando Magic fan. I get it. But we're not here to talk about that.
He's just so funny.
He's the best.
He's just so funny, and
he's really leaning into this WWE thing. He's like really trying to be a piece of it. I mean, it's like the second or third time that he's been like actively involved in WWE stuff. He had that Jalen Brunson thing earlier as well, and I think he had been to another show beforehand. I know when it was in Sacramento, he went. Just such a quirky guy.
They legit got the whole team there too, and the whole team played along. They all crossed their arms and looked all angry.
Yeah, I know. I see
regardless
Miles,
of whether they wanted to go or
I see Miles Turner right there.
So
I don't know. Some of these guys, just based on the sizes, I don't know if that was actually there might have been some actors in there. If you look,
that would be hilarious.
I mean, I see Miles Turner is definitely there, but there's some guys. If you watch the video again when these guys stand up, you're thinking. Trainer, maybe he's a trainer. Some of these guys, I don't know that I recall seeing them on the roster. I don't know if it's G League or whatever the case may be. But
yeah, I see Tyrese's boy there. There is
some friends.
G Leaguer who looks a lot like Rob Pelinka's there. Yeah, I see Obi Toppin at the end, Miles Turner. It's definitely a healthy mix.
Okay.
It's a healthy mix of everything.
There you go. When's his pod come out, Tyrese?
Did he not?
He does
one?
it with JJ, but that's since obviously been canned.
There you go.
Dang, JJ lost so many podcasts.
Dude, he didn't think about the residual.
Poor guy. He's pulling a Woj, leaving all that money on the table, man, taking the Lakers job.
Speaking of the WWE, Derek Fisher compares today's NBA to the WWE. You listen to guys that played before. This is his quote. You listen to guys that played before, coached before. It's a different game, and it's not a negative thing. It's just built more for the entertainment value, maybe, than the competitive value. I mean, this isn't the most egregious thing I've ever heard, but yeah, I mean, you talk about the WWE. I mean, that stuff is, and I'm not trying to tick anybody off. I mean, that's scripted, so. It's a shot, but a pretty low level shot compared to what we've heard from some of the other OGs.
All I have to say is shut up, Derek Fisher. Shut up. Nobody cares about what Derek Fisher has to say. God.
Yeah, it doesn't pop here, huh?
No, okay. Derek Fisher can get out of here. I don't think there's a more like just below average NBA player that is as like, why do we know Derek Fisher? He was like a 6 point per game player his entire career, but just because he was the Lakers point guard, like he's a person.
Now I'm trying to think.
He was like literally one of the worst basketball coaches, period, of all time. Coached the Lakers, or was it the Knicks? Mm-hmm. No one that got him out of there incredibly fast. Los Angeles Sparks got him out of there so fast. High school basketball couldn't even coach that. Get him out of here. Get out of here. Derek Fisher, nobody cares about you.
I do feel like there might be some purple lens situation going on with you on Derek.
You think?
But that's okay.
You think?
That's okay.
Very astute.
That's okay. All right. The time is now.
I don't know if I want to play this next clip. It's so bad.
We have to,
dude. Oh, are we obligated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Contractually. Yeah.
Yes.
This next clip.
So
unbearable.
This next clip is from the Deebo. I promise everyone. This is the last
chair
Deebo
swinging podcast.
This is from the
chair
last
spinner podcast.
This is the last Deebo clip,
dude.
Podcast clip we will play today. And I've been talking about it.
The cherry on top.
How do I describe this? So basically, Liv Moods. They're trying to do the thing where we talk about.
You're saying her name.
Well, I just want to give her just due.
No one else is.
We called her the mediator for the first hour.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go outside of sports a little bit, trying to be funny. And Brandon Aiyuk, you can't see the video, but you can imagine just by the silence.
Dude.
Brandon Aiyuk, it just doesn't go well. And I don't know if this stuff was rehearsed. I don't know what this was, but here it is in all of its glory.
Now, Aiyuk, I have to ask you a question. Don't say a word.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Have you heard the song Hot to Go?
How does it go?
Would you like a demo? HOTTOGO. You can take me hot to go.
We ain't hearing that.
Okay. How would you feel if he played that on the boombox as an entrance for the 49ers? I think we should switch it up a little.
We ain't hearing that in there.
Come on. Okay.
Man. Aiyuk,
that was Deebo that said things. Yeah.
Aiyuk doesn't smile the whole time.
He's not even spinning in his chair.
He's not even compelled to spin
is a little
in his
bit,
chair.
Actually, now that I'm
I don't know if that was rehearsed. Again,
she's
first
unloading
show.
the clip, man. She's like, look, I've got all these questions written down, and we have gone through all of them.
Because you're giving one-word answers.
I have to ask you this question, Brandon. Do you know the song Hot to Go by Chapel Roan?
Oh, my goodness.
This song you don't know. Should we play it on the boombox for your walkout?
No, you shouldn't. Okay, well, I think we should switch it up.
Yeah, I've been her before.
She's trying.
They're gonna get. And I do wonder. It's funny because you read stuff, and Chris, I'm just thinking about this off the top of my head, so don't be too scared. But you read stuff the day after your performance in a game, right? Some players say that they don't.
Sure.
They try to avoid it. Oh, well, Aiyuk had a drop, or Deebo couldn't get open, whatever it is. Now you have to worry about. I mean, if you're Deebo, they're still competitive. So let's say they just took the bag. If somebody is saying, yo, this is trash, you're still going to feel some, even if Deebo just want to take the bag, which I think might help and make the show better because you're not going to want to hear that. They're going to wake up this morning, and unless we're completely missing something, most people are probably saying, this is terrible.
No, we saw online, people are saying this is terrible. It's really bad.
And at least Aiyuk can leave.
He's just a guest.
He didn't even want to be there in the first place.
No.
Dude, this Aiyuk stock all-time low right now.
Yeah.
Literally all-time low.
He left his boy hanging to dry.
Well, also, it is really funny to me that the only reason, or I should say the main reason why you would have Brandon Aiyuk on the podcast is to get the answer of what happened this offseason. And we played that answer, and it was a terrible. So the entire point of having him on the pod, he didn't supply.
Yeah.
So then the entire podcast is just, trying to search for something. Okay, the entire reason we had you on, you already blew through that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's
he
talk
left
about
him out
the
hanging to
box.
dry. He left him out hanging to dry. And I do wonder if she had emergency questions, and if they got
and
all
it was
the
that.
way. She's like, we probably won't get here, but just in case. And when I
actually had this saved for episode 3.
Right. When it was somebody who would actually laugh,
George
when
Kittle.
say, hey, why'd you want to be here? Family. I know they got kids. I got kids.
Is this more of
parking's good
indictment
Not like
on
Davis.
him and just him like not actually caring, or does he just not have zero personality?
I don't know. Doesn't it feel
I
like
mean,
he had more?
showed a lot of
when he was on
personality
the
at the-
pivot. When he was on the pivot, he was way different, right? When he was there with
What
his
is the
boy,
pivot?
with Jade, you always ask this.
I don't know what it is. That
With
tells you I
Jaden-
legitimately don't.
With Jaden Daniels,
You say it so
couple.
casually, like "Good Morning America."
the pivot,
Mind ball.
with Ryan Clark when he was on there with Ryan Clark, and he said whatever they don't want me, whatever. They're going. He seemed different. He seemed different.
More engaged.
You guys were right about it. It seems like right after practice, we have to do that.
God.
But I'm thinking maybe it's like a 6 a.m. call time or something, and they're like,
It's actually pre-practice.
Oh, that's even worse.
When do you think they recorded this?
I have no clue.
You think it was
it's like
weeks
a
ago?
casino. It could have been at 12 at night. It could have been.
Well, like, do you think they did it yesterday or like 2 weeks ago?
There's
or like,
no sort of times they don't. Right. I mean, all the clips we've seen, there's no questions on like the games. Right.
Yeah. Maybe the first one was fired up. They had it in the chamber, and then the rest will be actually because we don't know what the point of the show. It's not a Micah Parsons type show. So I don't know.
It is very like podcast P, but it's super produced. It's not
podcast P.
They spend a lot of the way they're sitting is like
it's super chill.
They're spending way too much money on this.
Yeah. Last but not least, guys, Jose Altuve was ejected after taking his sock and cleat off to show where a ball hit him. I guess they called him back.
Images are hilarious.
And he took off his shoe and he got ejected.
He literally points at his foot
and had to walk back after being ejected to the dugout with one shoe on. And
it's already short enough.
Yeah. All right, I was gonna see could we get out of here without any jokes, and of course,
absolutely not.
We couldn't. Coming up next, we continue the conversation and we get back into Some football. The Hall of Fame first team has been announced. There is a name on there that will have everyone talking. Also, who is in line to win Defensive Player of the Year? Could it be somebody who doesn't normally rush the quarterback? Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sacktown Sports and sacktownsports.com.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. She's meet me on the side.
Khalid, live in concert. See him performing at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. Get tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss the sensational Khalid for one night only at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 5th. For more, visit KhalidOfficial.com.
Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
All right, Chris, you have the list for the Hall of Fame names that have come out. I know we were both kind of staring at them and some of the notable names, the big name guys that came out of this that we're going to have a conversation about time and time again. Eli Manning. The time has come. After all that, Eli Manning is up for Hall of Fame nomination. So let's have the first conversation of many about this situation. Obviously, Eli, two-time Super Bowl champ. The question is, does he get in? And my second question would be, do you think he should get in? Because they're two different questions here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think he does get in for sure. I mean, he's got 2 rings. He was a number 1 pick, a number 2 pick. He was a top pick in the draft. I think so. I mean, there's not many careers that have, especially from the quarterback position in that era, that have been as successful as Eli. You know, he has as many Super Bowls as his brother Peyton. Definitely not the regular season accomplishments, but yeah, I mean, I think Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback. You don't get to win 2 Super Bowls, and as long as you're not a Dilfer in the Super Bowl, I would imagine, yeah, he should be in pretty easy.
Yeah, I think he's going to get in. Whether I think he should get in, I think that if we're going to do this ring thing, there's no choice, right?
So there's 10 quarterbacks that are up for possible nomination. Where do you think Eli falls on this list? There's Mark Bolger, Randall Cunningham, Jake Delhomme, Doug Flutie, Rich Gannon, Jeff Garcia, Donovan McNabb, Eli Manning, Steve McNair, and Tony Romo.
So these guys have been up.
Yes, these are the modern. These are the guys that are up for nomination.
Romo's been up for 5 years, or out of the league for 5 years, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
He is up for nomination. This isn't his first year. This is not his first year.
No, it's not his first year. The only QB is his first year, I believe, is Eli.
Yep.
Eli's a lock.
Yeah.
I think he is. I mean, yeah, Randall Cunningham to me is the only name that I would probably say is possibly more deserving just because of everything he means to not only the quarterback position, but specifically black quarterbacks for sure. I think Randall definitely was a revolutionary in the way that he played the game in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know who would have, like Steve McNair, definitely. I just watched his Netflix documentary. That was really entertaining. I would say so. I really don't see how you can keep Eli out, especially with those other names up there. I think he's got, let's not also forget that the Mannings are pretty much as close as you can get to like the football Kennedys, right? Like, I mean, that is literally football royalty. It feels like it's kind of tough to keep that out.
We haven't even talked about Arch Manning on this show yet. That man might be a superstar.
We will talk. Yes, we will get to our college football later in the week for sure. Some of the other names, first-time nominees, some other notable names, Chris. Marshawn Lynch, Darren Sproles. Get my boy Sproles in. Demaryius Thomas, Vernon Davis, Delanie Walker, Travis Frederick, Ryan Khalil, Joe Staley, Marshall Yanda, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Antoine Bethea, Aqib Talib, Earl Thomas, and Adam Vinatieri. It's a pretty stacked list, right?
Yeah, that's a great list. I think Vinatieri's a lock.
Yeah,
for
he's a lock.
sure.
Staley's a lock.
You think first ballot?
I don't know about first ballot, but I think he's a lock to be a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Vinatieri, I think, is probably the biggest no-brainer on that list. Marshawn, I think, gets in only 5 at a time, right? So it's gonna be tight.
Yeah. Some of the other,
There's also some players from last year that feel like they should get in. Antonio Gates.
Oh,
he should get in. He's not in yet. Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Darren Woodson, Rodney Harrison, even Jared Allen. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough class.
Yeah, I think Eli, is he first ballot? You know,
I think he's locked in for first ballot.
First
I think
ballot.
No doubt in my mind.
Just get it over with.
The only one ahead of him is Vinatieri on this list, just because I think people consider Vinatieri, well, maybe with Tucker, but the greatest kicker of all time, and just what he did for the Patriots. Well, it's funny that it's those two, and then he again, second half of his career with the Colts was just insane too. I think Vinatieri is guaranteed. Those two guaranteed.
So how this process goes, also, there's 167 names that are candidates. There's 16 new names. They cut that list to 50 next month, and then there will be there will be a committee that then cuts the list down to 25, and then they will cut it down to 15. And then players must get 80% of the votes to get in. Under the new under the Hall of Fame bylaws, between 3 to 5 players can get in as modern era candidates.
Interesting.
There will also be 3 senior candidates grouped in with 1 coach and a contributor.
So Luke Kuechly's in there too, right?
Yes.
I think that this is his first year, correct? I think that is pretty close to a lock too. Defensive Player of the Year 2013. It is a great list. I mean, obviously
it's a great
all
class.
Fun, right?
It's gonna be a great class.
Speaking of Luke Kuechly, I wanted to ask you guys a question before we go to a break. I want to talk about Defensive Player of the Year real quick. The last 10 have been all linemen, except for Stephon Gilmore, who was in 2019.
That's Minnesota Vikings Stephon Gilmore to you, by the way.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, Mr. Lockdown of Brandon Aiyuk. I would like you guys to guess. Since 2010, there have been 3 non-quarterback rushing positions. I'm counting not the front 7. I'm counting the D line, because it changes with the 3-4 defense and the 4-3, right? D end and D tackle, all that
non-pass rushers.
Non-pass rushers. 3 of them since 2010. Do you guys know the 3 2010 that have won Defensive Player of the Year?
I'll just guess Ray Lewis is one of them. Yeah.
Nope.
No. Okay.
You said 2010.
Ray Lewis won in 2003 and 2000.
Oh wow. Okay.
You said 2010.
Since 2010.
Is that before? Is Troy Polamalu? He's done by then. He's already done.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So then I would guess Luke Kuechly.
Well, you got, and then Gilmore, and then
it's Gilmore, and then one more.
Yes.
Darrelle Revis.
Alan already got it. Was Troy Polamalu 2010?
Oh, wow.
He got a safety. Yeah.
Why didn't you say
I don't know, because you were so down on yourself, man. I felt bad.
Me? Remember how this show started?
Yeah, but I'm actually having real problems.
Yeah.
Talanoa Hufanga is supposed to play this week for what it's worth. Also,
yeah, I don't.
That broke.
He's never going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
No, he's not. But I just thought it'd be a good time to
seeing him come back will be very interesting. I think he would have made the exact same mistake on that Justin Jefferson play we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Jair Brown just like bit too. That wasn't really mentioned too much. Jair mentioned that in his post-game interview about that. Jair definitely, they were double covering, or there was double coverage on JJ for sure. Yeah, he just took a step in the wrong direction, and JJ's just too good to leave open.
We'll see what Hufanga does when he comes back, because I mean the streets are talking. They're saying Hufanga is a Jonathan Abram with better PR.
Okay.
Streets need to be quiet.
Who's that? You just made that up. Remember when he said Salmon on HP on Hard Knocks? Jonathan Abram?
No.
He got in like an argument with Derek Carr at dinner about it. He made a whole big deal about Salmon. I'll try to find that in the break.
Great. Coming up next, we have some more possible answers on the passing decline in the NFL. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are expecting cloudy skies and cool conditions today. Highs are only going to top out in the mid-70s, and there is a slight chance for a few rain showers. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
I found out that one of my players was vaping. I brought him in and asked him, where did this stuff come from? He said, it's bigger than you think, coach. He had told me that almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in, and I said, hey, you as parents need to do your part. You guys need to figure out how, why, and when this stuff is happening, and we got to get it fixed.
Coach Sanchez and his team took vaping head on. Learn how he and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcasts? Good news! Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things Uninterrupted at amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
The last 6 Sacramento Rivercats games of the 25th anniversary season are packed with promotions and theme nights. Join us for Hispanic Heritage Night on September 17th, the Rivercats Golfer Hat Giveaway on September 20th, our inaugural Harry Potter Night on September 21st, and cap off the homestand with Fan Appreciation Day for the final game of the season on Sunday, September 22nd. Make your way to the ballpark for a farewell to the Rivercats of 2024. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets today.
Sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Enjoy ultimate control of your home network. Personalize your Wi-Fi name and password. Assign user profiles. View and control connected devices and more with the Xfinity Internet app.
I would end the day with sore feet, sore legs. The drugstore inserts that I was purchasing were really not very useful at all. I walked into the Good Feet store and the guy kind of grinned at me and said, I hear that a lot. I was living with chronic pain before going to the Good Feet store. Now I don't really have that problem. I'm able to do the things that I expect to be able to do, even at my advanced age. I feel pretty good about what's going on.
Come to the Good Feet store now for a free fitting and test walk.
Sacramento, Dirk Bentley's coming to town. Getting drunk on a plane. For his only show in California this year, Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park for Country in the Park 2. What was I thinking? And he's bringing some friends. Carmelie. I want to close your eyes for this. Tyler Rich. Dasha. And more. Saturday, September 28th at Hard Health Park. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPfest.com.
Brought to you by the California Army National Guard and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton and Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Beta Chevy saves you $12,500 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado High Country in stock after rebates. All of them.
Silverado Savings Spectacular. Now at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Ends 5/30/24.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
You're talking Hall of Fame and that list. It's a pretty great list. Guys, Marshawn, does he get in?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's got the Beastquake. Was the personality to go with it, too.
I think the 5 are
Super Bowl.
Him, Vinatieri, Eli, Kuechly, and then take your Cunningham would be nice.
Well, Terrell Suggs.
I hate Terrell Suggs.
Oh man, okay. Should still be a Hall of Famer.
You guys?
Yeah, I think Antonio Gates should be it. Antonio Gates to me, if it's not Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates is the best tight end of the post 2000s. So, well, maybe without Gronk. I think he should be absolutely in. And that's San Diego Charger too. So, you get to kind of give them a nod a little bit.
Might as well. Let's get to this sound. And we were discussing this yesterday as far as why passing has declined. Thank you, Nate. Little early on the trigger there. Frank Michael Smith had this to say and his breakdown of why NFL passing is declining.
Game is slowly dying in the NFL. It's not my opinion. The stats more than back it up. It's especially strange considering Roger Goodell has done everything in his power to make the NFL a passing league. Here's the hard stats. Teams average just 188.3 yards passing in week 1. Now, at first glance, you might say, well, it is just 1 week. Let's not overreact. I agree, but there's a much larger trend at play. Let's look at full seasons. Back in 1992, NFL teams started averaging over 200 yards passing per game. This grew and got much larger in the 2010s after rule changes like defenseless receiver, roughing the passer, and targeting. Obviously, these helped, but not as much as you'd think. Average passing actually peaked at 243 yards back in 2015. It's been downhill since then. The last 2 seasons both came in at 218. Think about it like this. The last time the NFL average was below 220 was back in 2009. Kendall Baker of Yahoo Sports touched on this and credited Jake Grossman with this wow graph titled, "Is it time to run the damn ball?" The lines you see are based off EPA or expected points added. The gold line is all plays, red line is running plays, and blue is passing. The gold line is interesting here. Since 2020, the EPA of all plays has been trending down, which means offense as a whole has been less effective. Now, the intersection of the red and blue lines is fascinating. The pendulum has officially swung. For the first time, rushing plays have a higher EPA than passing plays, and it's not even close. Running the ball is officially back and more effective than ever. I'm Frank Michael Smith, and that's my take.
How did this happen? It just seems like just yesterday it was Drew Brees breaking records every other week, every other year. And all of a sudden, Chris, it seems like, based on some of the numbers from Frank Michael Smith, great stuff there, that that running the ball is back and teams like the Niners and the Ravens, who have kind of never left as far as passing the ball. What were your thoughts, Chris, when you kind of heard some of these numbers, especially the EPA, the expected play average? And does it feel like that when you're watching? football right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is surprising to hear it for sure. I mean, just in general, it feels like it's become the cliche, just talking point to say, oh yeah, it's a passing league, and the NFL does all they can to make it as pass friendly as possible. And hearing those numbers is definitely different, right? It's definitely not what you typically hear, and it's a bit against the grain, but it makes a little bit of sense in the sense of yeah, if everybody's passing and it's become a passing league, well, then all of a sudden the defenses are going to shift and they start to play a little bit more deep. And then that allows, a lot more running lanes and a lot more, hey, you don't have, 8 in the box anymore, things like that. And so, maybe it is just as simple as it's just a balancing act, right? Like, maybe it just went too far in one way, and this is the way of it kind of getting back together. I do think some of it is as well how we manage running backs nowadays. It's not just bell cows. It's not just guys getting exhausted throughout the duration of the game and, getting 5 yards at a time. It is about chunk plays. It's about getting those explosive runs. And by kind of cycling and doing running backs by committee, you have fresh legs in there every time. And so I think that plays a part in it. We're smarter about how we put out the running backs and attack the run game. If I had to guess, it really is more so a reaction to the fact that the league has become so passing that if you're going to sit back and run deep zones, we're just going to run the ball and take advantage of the space that you're giving us.
Yeah. And then there's the counter, and then there's the counter to the counter, or the correction, and then the overcorrection.
Also the quarterbacks, we talked about it when we did our list. It's, there's the Drew Breeses of the world, the Mannings, even the Tom Brady, the Phillip Rivers. Like it feels like the middle class, I guess you could say, of quarterbacks is just a little bit tougher to find nowadays.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call. And when Tom Brady talked about it, what was it last year? He talked so much, it's hard to keep up. But when Tom Brady talked about it last year or earlier this year, I think a lot of people maybe thought it was some hybrid sour grapes. Not that Brady has anything to be sour about, but then when you see numbers like this, you start thinking look, he's still finding his footing with the broadcasting thing, but he was kind of spot on. He was kind of spot on in this assessment of where everybody is. Interesting text that just came through, Chris. Close to 400 million people in America, and we can't find 30 good starting QBs. Out of 400 million, there are like 7 good quarterbacks. How is that even possible?
This is really hard.
And then they end it where, you can take this with a grain of salt if you want. Are we sure football is America's sport? Well, I'm sure.
It's definitely
all the numbers say.
If anything, that's more indicative. Like the fact that there's only 7 good quarterbacks, and yet football still runs the day.
Right.
Like imagine if there was 15 good quarterbacks.
Yeah, look, I do think, and we've talked about how when we were talking about Tua and how it's flag football, and whether some people, it's not affecting people watching, but maybe not as many kids are playing. That might be part of it, but I don't think that there are enough kids not playing football that's the reason there's only 7 good quarterbacks. Right. If there is a position, most parents are okay with their kid playing. It's, if you're going to play football, be the quarterback. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's that. I just think we're in a weird era right now. I mean, the guys that you've named off, Chris, look, we hope Tua gets well, but there are question marks about whether Tua is elite or is he just good. I still have question marks about Jalen Hurts.
For sure.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence was Trevor Lawrence was deemed the number 1 pick as soon as he stepped on a Clemson's campus. Yeah. Okay. And he didn't end up being good. Deshaun Watson, he fell off a cliff. Jared Goff, right?
Baker Mayfield.
Where is he?
What is Baker?
Right. There's a bunch of.
Is Baker a top 8 quarterback in the NFL? Yeah. Like he's kind of playing like it the past 2 years.
And I'll tell you this right now, out of this class, and hey Chris, who's his name? Learning about Cam Ward and some of these other guys. I don't know if there's not even a Trevor Lawrence coming out of this draft, as far as I know, right? And Nate's saying he's seeing mock drafts that has Shador not even in the first round. We
Carson
think he
Beck
will
is a first round pick.
So
for sure.
It's just a weird. It's just shows how tough the dang position is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really, really tough. It's already hard enough to have all of the things that go through a quarterback's mind and trying to process everything in real time. But then, it's also the analytics of football have definitely not helped. I mean, we now know better where to place players and tendencies and things like that. Like, I just think the position has never been harder mentally as well.
look, I will say this. There are a couple guys that there are high hopes for.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure, the young guys. Yeah.
I guess most people are counting CJ Stroud already, but you do have the young guns that are coming up. CJ Stroud, I'd put Brock Purdy in that conversation. Sure. And then there is the we'll see. Okay, the Jaden Daniels. A lot of people like Jaden Daniels. A lot of people like Caleb Williams. A lot of people don't like Caleb Williams, but a lot of people like Caleb Williams. So in 3 years, we could be talking about another QB renaissance if these guys hit. We just don't know if they're going to hit or not. And they're all pretty highly touted. So in 3 years, that 7 is looking more like 12. And now everybody is saying that's how it normally is. But I will say right now, we are in a weird era where all of the QBs that we grew up with or that you were in your younger years with, the Phillip Rivers and all them, they all just went boom, 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 gone.
Matt Stafford's the elder statesman.
Matt Stafford, that's it. And they all went gone. Tom Brady's now gone. Ben Roethlisberger's now gone. And now football is trying to find who's next. Yep. Coming up next, we have Whitey Gleason joining us of the Drive Guys. And we get Whitey's thoughts on the Hall of Fame group. There's a name that everyone's bringing up that should be mentioned in this group as well. We also get his thoughts on the Sac-12 and bringing the Pac-12 to Sacramento. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the 3. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hear that? The soothing sounds of a bubble bath. And if you were here, you'd smell a single cedar leaf candle. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. So if you ride, get back on the road and enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. And then take a shower, because it's fast, like your motorcycle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage, not available in all states.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
It's not hard to be a mom. It's hard to be a good mom. It's easy to be a bad mom. That's so easy. But to be a good mom is hard. To be a bad mom, that's as easy as being a great dad. That's...
Nikki Glazer, Alive and Unwell Tour. Friday, September 20th. The venue at Thunder Valley. Tickets on sale now. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. She's alive and unwell. Don't miss Nikki Glazer.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram off Business 80 next to Hagen Oaks or online sacsuperstore.com. Big inventory and the right deal. Experience it for yourself and see why their customers drive away smiling. It's the Sac Superstore difference.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Here with Whitey Gleason, 15 more minutes with you. And Whitey will take you up to Thursday, pretty much. Drive guys.
Sure. Yeah, as long as you want to go.
Yeah.
Me and Jay today.
There you go.
Anyone know when Draper's back?
When's the King start? When's the King season start?
I think Friday. Because they have those league meetings
big
going
fella.
on, right?
Yeah.
The media.
The LeBron James, he's going to show
Monday,
up. He's going to show up, when he needs to.
I'm sort of LeBron James, of the station. Trying to boost the rating.
Yeah,
After
I got you.
after
Did you
that
get him?
Eagle loss. I mean, he may need a little more
suspiciously.
time. He may need a little more time.
That was a bad loss, but you gotta move forward, and that's exactly what Woj is doing. Whitey, a bit of a surprise Woj bomb, and shall we say
Woj with a soft J? I've never heard that before. Like Woj, is that how you're saying it? Like French?
Woj?
I've never heard. I thought it was Woj. I'm not saying
I
you're
don't
wrong.
know.
I've just never heard it
really
before.
finished it.
Woj.
I say Woj.
Do you?
Yeah.
Woj.
Oh, okay.
Adrian Wojnarowski.
I say Woj.
Woj.
All right, gotcha.
Woj.
Yeah, he's moving on to be the GM at St. Bonaventure.
Yes, and I was
Bonnies.
Yeah,
I was telling Chris I played them back in the day, and it is not when you think New
Chris
York
care any more than I do.
No,
I did.
zero.
No, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
When I was just telling Chris that when you think New York, that is not where St. Bonaventure's is. It's not like he's going to be in the big apple. Yeah, he's not in the Big Apple, baby. But
he's not. He doesn't care for Sacramento. In Sacramento, a lot of people don't care for him.
Yeah.
Why?
When I was on another station in town, he came on once and he said, "This is the only time I'm coming on Sacramento." And because of the whole thing about the Seattle move.
Yes. Yep.
And he said the ball's on the 1 foot line.
I think he said first and goal at the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got, and I think Dave might have been the one leading the charge. Chris would probably know.
That sounds like him.
Because I wasn't actually here when all that was going on, but following on Twitter, and people went after him. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're wrong. And
he was.
He's to this day, I believe, not happy about that.
But what is he not happy about? Being wrong?
The way people came after him.
Yeah. His argument is, I'm just reporting what I'm hearing. Don't shoot the messenger.
How do you feel about that?
That he was wrong, and that he, it's the game that you play. If you're going to try and break news, then, when you're wrong, better be ready for the smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Sacramento,
especially with something like that. I mean, especially with the tensions as high as it was.
Yes. And that, at what cost, right?
Because at that point, it felt like it was opinion. Like, that's not really, I mean, again, maybe somebody had told him that exact quote, first and goal at the 1, but at that point when things, I mean, he said it was first and goal at the 1. It felt about as dire as possible when you're putting people in that mind state, and then you tell them, well, actually, guess what? You actually have life. Your people are going to be upset.
Yeah, there was a false start in there, and then a whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was it the Eagles at the 1? I mean, what's going on here? Yeah, so he moves on, and now there's going to be a bidding war. I guess what it sounds like to me, Chris, is it's so funny with this whole thing. Now Jake Fisher is emerging as a dark horse to fill that ESPN role. I think what it comes down to is Jake Fisher, which, hey, it is what it is in life. Everybody has the hierarchy. And if something goes if somebody is able to pay Shams more than what ESPN can pay him, that's the only way I think Chris and I see that position not going to one Shams. But isn't it funny, Whitey, to even talk about, we're talking about this stuff and the free agents. And I believe Chris Haynes may be a free agent too. I mean, there's just been a couple different free agents pop up from the news breaking side of things.
We need somebody covering their movement.
Isn't it funny that we
Stiles
do this
Bomb, Shams, first and goal on the one with ESPN.
Stiles Bomb sourcing the sources. Ooh.
There you go.
You like that?
Yeah.
I think that's what front office sports is for. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They don't do it like me though.
I mean, there's a reason.
I mean, they do it, so yeah, I guess they kind of don't do it like you.
Whitey, the first nominee. See, this is when you guys gang up on me, man.
No.
Let me tell you, this is individualistic. This is not,
Nate,
not
not a
some
coordinated effort.
Yeah,
It's just kind of
Nate, help.
working out that way.
Alan brings stinky lunch. That's not helping. Not in the least. Whitey, the first time nominees for the NFL Hall of Fame. Did you see the list yet?
I did. I have seen it.
What are your thoughts?
Joe Staley. I'd like to see Joe Staley get in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I started focusing on the quarterbacks, which I know Jay and I are going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Romo. It's interesting. Tony Romo, for all his success, I don't think he's going to ever get in.
I don't know, Jim.
With a woeful postseason record of his, fairly or unfairly, Alan, as you know. That's how we judge our quarterbacks.
That's exactly
Tony's
right.
a weird one.
Postseason.
Like he didn't win anything. Like, I mean, I don't know what
He
Tony
win a
Romo
divisional game. I don't
No,
think.
yeah. Like I don't, his most significant playoff moment is him with the field goal, right? Or the extra point, right? Is dropping the extra point and having punters now be the holders. Like, I don't know what exactly Tony Romo would be a Hall of Famer for besides, like, if Tony Romo isn't the Cowboys quarterback, is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer? I don't think so.
Higher passer rating than Peyton Manning, I think, like just barely. But if he had won one more playoff game, you know how many he would have won? 3.
You're on fire today, Whitey.
3.
I will say this though, when it comes to Tony
He's
Romo,
2 and
though,
4 postseason.
Can I say this though? No. It was a catch.
Oh yeah.
The Des Bryant.
Yeah.
It was.
Right.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to do with that.
What about Eli? Eli's got to be in, right? I know people say.
I think he's in.
Hello, look what he did in the Super Bowl.
I think he's in, and you can't not. I think that's what's funny. You can't not have Tony Romo in because of what he didn't do in the postseason, and then not have Eli in because of what he didn't do.
I think Eli will make it easily, but I still think there will be a lot of people that till the end of their days will say there's no way Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer.
Well, he'll have the gold jacket to prove it. Whitey, did you catch any of Deebo's podcast?
Bits and pieces. Yeah, it was not. Reviews weren't very favorable, the ones that I saw.
Not great.
We played a decent bit of it today.
Oh,
we're done.
Well, that's it.
Nate.
We're not playing
It actually put Nate in a terrible mood. It put Nate in a terrible
Whose idea
mood.
was it to play it if it was so bad?
Mine.
Yes.
Multiple times.
The guy in the Raiders shirt.
It just was, we had to, we are the Sacramento home. We have to play Deebo's podcast. That's just how it goes. And last but not least, Whitey, before we lend you the mic for the Drive Guys show today, the Sac-12 outlining their plan for the Pac-12.
Woo, it's a lot of money. Very ambitious plan.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
wow.
Chris and I were trying to figure out the timing on all this, on what they need to get checked off the list.
Yeah, which do we do first, our football stadium or our brand new basketball facility?
Do you think does it feel a little unrealistic, maybe, their list?
I mean, I guess it's, we've learned that, like Greg Lukenbill, when he first wanted to move a team here, a lot of people said, no way. Now the NBA's here. So I know you have to dare to dream, but man, that list is pretty ambitious.
Yeah. Right. Because especially in Sacramento as well, like a big reason why I think a lot of people in general have been a little hesitant to say Sacramento can hold all of these major sports is because we don't have a lot of Fortune 500 companies here either. Like, I don't know exactly where their plan is besides local donations. And I know there's definitely some affluent people here in Sacramento, but like, we don't have Amazons to just go out there and throw funds to something like this. And I don't really, and it's more just my ignorance. I just don't know where exactly, to your point, where is all this money going to come from?
Sacramento, I think, would need somebody like people like what the Spanos family has done for Pacific.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And I just don't know if they have any of those major, what do we call whales out there, right? And it seems like you'd probably, the money that's being thrown out there, even just in this proposal, $50 million for NIL. They have to build securing funding for a 25,000 stadium capacity stadium, a basketball stadium, and then they're also $5.25 million for realignment as well. That's I don't know.
And then they're going to try to get $15,000,
$300 million total
at each game the rest of the way this season.
Yeah,
It's like, wait, what?
But that's what's that's why I'm not really understanding the checklist, because it's, what if that doesn't happen? Is the whole thing blown up?
Yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean? What happens
that's a
there?
commuter school, right? There's a lot of people that just don't. They go there. They don't spend a lot of time.
They've recently built out the dorms, but in general, there isn't a lot of out of towners or anything like that staying at Sac State.
Yeah, 50 mil. And that's one thing, Chris, maybe we can get into a little bit more tomorrow, Friday Eve show, because 50 mil, that's basically, they want for 10 years, that's $5 million a year in NIL money, which I think is a good amount of money. I think that's good enough for Sac State. But where are you going to get it? I think that's what you're talking about with these big wigs. Where are you getting 50 mil in NIL commitments?
Yeah.
Reese Hoskins, he ain't going to give you all.
I know.
He ain't going to give you all that.
As you know, Jay is the commissioner of the city of Tree, so I'll be interested in his thoughts today on, because he's very excited.
I'm going to listen, because I need to where is this 50 mil coming from? But that's all coming up next on the Drive, guys.
Maybe that's where Draper is. He's drumming that
out. There you go. He is in New York.
The LeBron James of the show. Of the station. 50 mil is that's 50 cents to some people. Whitey Gleason, Jay Johnson, Kyle Draper. He will be back at some point. Drive Guys coming up next. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Thank you to all the callers, Sexers, Sex Chatters, our winner of the UC Davis, Texas. Thank you to Nate, as always. And until tomorrow, secure the bag. Like to be.
Right away.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's game?